From CNN Headline News, this is TBS Newswatch.
Brought to you by Nature Valley Granola Bars.
Bill Clinton wins big in South Carolina, about 3-1 over Paul Tsongas. Clinton also wins in Wyoming, while Tsongas comes out on top in Arizona. Nevada's 17 delegates are up for grabs today. On the Republican side, President Bush took 67% of South Carolina's primary vote. Pat Buchanan got 26%, David Duke got 7%. Off the coast of Thailand, 87 people drowned when a ferry boat collided with an oil tanker. For Newswatch, I'm Bob Whitkin.
Ah, the Nature Valley Granola Bar. Such simple sweetness. Such enjoyable crunch. Once you come to know this wonderfully wholesome taste, you realize a Nature Valley granola bar could be the candy bar nature intended.
This has been TBS Newswatch.
Top 1, Daytona. Fords win the top 4 spots. Stop 2, Rockingham. Last week, Fords placed first and second. 692 laps on 2 Sundays. Ford leads an awesome 641. Now you're live in Richmond, Virginia, another Sunday, and guess what? Another Ford's on the pole. Many are saying the season's over. But hold on. This is Earnhardt country. This is where GM has won the last 3, 18 of the last 21. Settle back. This is the one that could tell the story.
The Pontiac Excitement 400 is brought to you by Pontiac and your local Pontiac dealer. We build excitement. By Goodyear, #1 in tires. By Napa, because there are no unimportant parts. By Castrol, engineered for today's smaller cars. And by Budweiser, the king of beers with that clean, crisp, cold taste. Nothing beats a Bud.
And hello, everyone. Ken Squire welcoming you to sold out Richmond International Raceway for the 32nd running of the Pontiac 400. You know, for the last 9 straight years, Chevrolet has taken the Winston Cup Manufacturers Championship. And back in '76, GM started winning the thing. One way or another, they've taken it ever since. Ford, for '92, has launched a massive effort to take that manufacturer's crown. But after you've run the 2.5 miles at Daytona, after you've run the mile super speedway in Rockingham, you get down to the tracks where it really gets decided, the championship that is. The short tracks, the guts and glory of stock car racing, and Richmond, Virginia is one of its very best examples. If Ford is going to be considered a serious contender, then they have to come here to what is called Earnhardt country, Gantt territory. If they are really going to prove today that they can take the manufacturer's title, this is the day they've got to show their stuff. Let's get one of the challengers out and ready with us now. Randy Pemberton is standing by.
Well, I'm standing next to Bill Elliott. Of course, the runs that he had in the first 2 races of 1992 have been simply splendid. Many people are saying it's simply the Ford technology that's bringing the Fords to the forefront in the chasing of their first manufacturer's championship at 9 years. Others saying cylinder heads that are giving them a 30 horsepower advantage over the best that General Motors can throw at them. But I believe more than that, it's team, it's communication. Bill Elliott, you, Tim Brewer, Junior Johnson, you guys really communicate. You're a great chassis man. This is probably why you're the guy to beat here today.
Well, I don't know if I'm exactly the guy to beat. You know, coming into a new environment, you know, there's certain things we got to learn about certain racetracks. You know, like Rockingham, we pretty much had everything on track. Daytona, we were good. But here's going to be a situation that, you know, Gantt runs good here, Davey runs good here, and there's a lot of other competitors back there that run well here. You know, this is the first time for me in a Laughlin car in a long time, so, you know, we have got a little bit to learn, depending on how quick we can get that under us. and the circumstance of the race, but I feel like we should have a good day.
Well, he's got 400 laps to figure it out. Now let's go alongside on the front row to Dr. Dick Bergeron, editor of Stock Car Racing Magazine, who's standing by with the Winston Cup points leader and outside pole sitter, Davey Allison.
And the winner at Daytona, second last week, a great team. Is this going to be easy today?
Well, Dick, I don't think so. There's a bunch of other guys in this racetrack that are pretty tough competitors, and they've all been working hard. They haven't been sitting back just watching us have an easy time of it. And it's going to be a tough race today.
Okay, let's go back down to Randy Pemberton, and right now he's with a guy who's won twice here. Randy?
Rusty Wallace, this is your racetrack. A lot of people have been looking for you to come out of the block strong. This is a place you can do it today.
I hope you're right. I really want to win this thing real bad. The car's really running good. It's always run good every time I come here, so I got my fingers crossed. I need to make up a lot of lost points.
Okay, he's going to be chasing the Fords today. Now let's go upstairs to the guy that knows everything about Fords as well as Chevrolets, a guy that's won here 3 times, our analyst for today's race, Neil Bonnet.
Thank you, Randy. You know, we hear the Ford Chevrolet deal over and over and over. There's usually a reason why one team dominates. It's been 1980 since Ford ran anything other than a Ford product, the Mercury's back in the 70s. Now Chevrolet has been running with Fords, Buick, Oldsmobiles. They've ran the Pontiac brands, the different types that's been there. They've been going along trying to get different manufacturers up front. Ford has had all their eggs in one basket. They've been working on that Ford engine. It's really performing well. Chevrolet's trying to pull everybody back together, get their eggs in one basket. Right now they're behind, and it's showing up. They're going to have to get to work to catch these Ford products. Then I tell you what, we got the greatest day in the works for a race right here. Beautiful day, packed grandstand, and a bunch of win-hungry race car drivers down there. Let's go to a break, and we'll be right back.
Looks great. But come on, I mean, you know, you could have gotten yourself another BMW or a Lexus.
I suppose, but why? This had everything I wanted. Power, great handling, ABS,
yeah, but
airbag, leather, everything. I couldn't see spending $10,000, $20,000 more for what?
Who makes it?
Pontiac. It's the new Bonneville.
Nice.
Welcome to a world of new ideas from Goodyear. Welcome to the tire that's changing all-season driving. Goodyear AquaTread. To the new Goodyear Eagle GS Ultra Performance radials. To the new leading-edge Goodyear Wrangler GSA radial for light trucks. Welcome to all of the new ideas at Goodyear. Come and discover why we say the best tires in the world have Goodyear written all over them.
And isn't it true that this auto part did, in fact, come from the defendant's car?
Objection. Prosecution is leading the witness.
Overruled. You may answer the question.
This part most definitely came from that car.
And how can you be sure?
I work for Napa Auto Parts. It's my job to be sure.
No further questions, Your Honor.
Napa people are parts experts, so they can answer any question, whatever the case may be.
How to live like a mountain man. A true mountain man lives a solitary life, living for nothing more than an honest day's work and the rugged companionship of his fellow mountain men. It's a full-time job, but it does have its rewards, like smooth bush beer and easy drinking bush light. So, head for the mountains. Because once a mountain man has his mountains, what more could he possibly want?
Well, we have a new voice down at the STP Pit Center today. Welcome from MRN Racing Network, a man whose credentials go back to the old days of the Danbury Racerama. Rick Benjamin, it's a pleasure to have you with us.
Thank you, Ken. Certainly a pleasure to be here. A lot of stories we'll be bringing you today in the STP Pit Communication Center. One thing we want to bring you up to date on, the Winston Cup point standings after 2 weeks of the season. Davey Allison off his win at Daytona, leading the way over Morgan Shepherd. Harry Gant, yesterday's winner here, and Terry Labonte tied for third. Jeff Bodine very consistently in fifth at this point. And the gap between the top five pretty small at this point, 2 weeks into the season. Lots of money at stake in the Winston Cup chase. One thing you can participate in at home today is the Gillette Halfway Challenge. Here's the phone number to call, 1-900-436-7000, 95 cents a call, and you must be 18 or older to make that phone call. If you call and enter in the first half of the race, One entry will be pulled. If you're the person who's called back after halfway, and you can tell us who's leading at halfway, you'll win a brand new Chevrolet Lumina Z34 from Gillette and Right Guard. And that's something that certainly you can get involved in. The driver leading at halfway gets $10,000 from the Gillette Halfway Challenge today. Here again, we take a look at the top 5 in Winston Cup points and the gap between only 74 points separating the top 5 drivers. There's a name there that you'd be expecting to see at this stage of the season. He's conspicuous by his absence. The 5-time and defending Winston Cup champion who's standing by on pit road with our Dick Berger.
Well, Dale, last year you won this thing from 19th starting position, but this year, if you're any further back, you'd be in the hot dog stand. Can you win it from this far back?
I don't know. We've won round one and run second from the back before, so you know it's just a matter of time. You got to be smooth and work with the traffic. It's 400 laps, so we got quite a good shot at getting up there. The guys are gridding the pits, so hopefully they help me some there. So we'll just keep this Goodwrench Chevrolet keeps moving to the front. So hopefully
we're going to keep watching it. Randy Pemberton is with Kyle Petty.
Well, Kyle Petty qualified on the pole last week at Rockingham. Kyle, you're third today. Can you get the chassis hooked up and chase down these 4?
We hope so. You know, since Robin went to work for us, Robin Pemberton, we've been able to qualify the Mellow Yellow Pontiac really, really well each week. But last week at Rockingham, it was my mistake. I kept wanting to do things I wanted to do and wasn't listening to him. This week we're listening to him, so hopefully we're going to come out on top.
Okay, now down with Dick Berggren is a 13-time winner here at Richmond. The man that'll hang up his helmet after this season, the King, Richard Petty.
What kind of a day is it going to be for Richard Petty today?
Well, I don't know. We're going to go find out. Looks like it's going to be a good day to start with. If we can make it do that all day long, it's going to be a good shape.
How well are you running?
Pretty good. We think we're in pretty good shape, but we'll just have to go see.
Okay, we've got a lot of stories brewing here at Richmond International Raceway, and we're going to be back to see them all unfold after these brief messages. Lots of action coming from Richmond.
Your smooth-running engine is a torture chamber, and under these grueling conditions, only one leading motor oil in every grade meets the world's toughest requirements for viscosity breakdown. Castrol. Castrol provides maximum protection against viscosity and thermal breakdown. So use Castrol. Why make things tougher on your engine? Castrol GTX, engineered for today's smaller cars.
Drag racing results on Castrol's NHRA now. Dial 1-900-468-NHRA.
Today's Contact takes on
Carol's horrible cold. I have a lot of congestion in through here. I'm like it's going to blow off the top of my head.
You took a cold pill, right?
The effects wore off. The congestion's coming back.
That's because ordinary cold pills can quit working after just 4 hours. Try Contact. You'll get continuous relief for up to 12 hours.
I felt wonderful. All my symptoms were gone. Everything dried up. It's for busy people who have no time to be sick. This is a great product, and I'm going to go out and buy it tonight.
Today's Contact, 12 hours stronger than Carol's horrible cold.
Hey, Mike, hand me my channel lock pliers.
Tommy, hand me that plier over there with the blue handles. What kind of pliers is that? These are channel lock tone and groove pliers. My dad uses them on his race car, too.
For the tough jobs and the small jobs, reach for Channel Lock, the handiest plier of them all.
Hey, guys, anybody seen the channel lock pliers?
Channel Lock. Be sure you're getting genuine Channel Lock pliers. Look for this trademark.
Pontiac Excitement 400 ready to go, and an honorary starter about to turn them loose. Let's go downstairs.
And now for the most dramatic words in the world of professional sports, our Grand Marshal Linda Petty.
Let the Pontiac excitement begin. Gentlemen, start your engines.
Linda Petty, all business today. And the 32nd running of the $690,000 300-mile Pontiac 400 about to get turned loose.
Ken, I went by and talked to Dale Earnhardt on the way up while we were talking about Richard Petty, and I said, Dale, how's the car doing? It's the first time I've seen him as enthused as he was today. He said they're really in good shape.
Here you see the pictures out of first the car of Mark Martin, and now Trop Optic number 66. Chad Little will be able to chat with him, we hope, some this afternoon as the day continues. 400 laps. There's the man on the pole, Bill Elliott, settling down, going for 2 in a row after that great win when he dominated at Rockingham last week.
I tell you, Junior, and the guys have really hit it off well, Tim Brewer with Bill Elliott, and they're showing that there can be a force in the first few races, and I think the feeling in the garage maybe all season long.
Get 2 in-car cameras for you today. There's Richard Petty's car, just about ready to fire up and pull out here. Tracks upon which he's won 13 events. Let's take a look at this track for a moment. Remember, it's 3/4 of a mile. You can average 122 miles an hour around this thing. Neil, tell us a little bit about this facility, which you know so well.
Ken, everybody says this is a super speedway, it's a short track. It's a combination. We see the big dog leg on the front straightaway, big bow in the front straightaway, really lets the cars get a lot of speed going down in the first turn. Front stretch is 8 degrees, back stretch 2 degrees of banking. When you get in that first turn, it's in the green area in the right side, real sweeping turn, but coming off 2, it almost cuts back in. Real tough getting off 2, back straightaway, good entry, coming off 4, real easy exit. It's easy in some places, but sure bites you in the others.
It is a sold-out house. Over 60,000 people have gathered here. Been sold out for some time at Richmond International Raceway, Paul Sawyer's great facility, as we get down to race number 3 of the 1992 season. After that dynamic start at Daytona, on to Rockingham, and the issue is today, not so much Chevrolet, but can Pontiac, General Motors, finally stymie this effort? And there you get a good view of this entire facility, this 3/4 mile track, where when next we greet you in September, it will be at night. Pace car is bringing the field down off pit road. They'll be taking 4 preliminary laps, then underway. 40-mile-an-hour limit on pit road today. Let's take a look at the Valvoline starting grid for this afternoon's action. Bill Elliott's on the pole at 121.337 miles per hour, won last week. Then Davey Allison, who won at Daytona, starts right alongside. Going to row 2 is Kyle Petty, who won this race back in '86. With him comes Sterling Marlin and the other Junior Johnson Ford. For row 3, there you have Alan Kulwicki, who made his debut here back in '85, and Harry Gant, who else, who won here last September and yesterday as well. Going to row 4 is Michael Waltrip, still looking for that first win. And alongside from Alabama, Hut Strickland driving for Bobby Allison. Going to row 5, you have Brett Bodine, who ran 8th last week at the Rock, and Ernie Urban, who won the '91 Daytona 500. Further back in the field, Morgan Shepherd, currently second in the standings, and Rusty Wallace, a 2-time winner on this track. In row 7, it's Ken Schrader in the Rick Hendricks Chevy and Jeff Bodine, the legendary Butmore car. For row 8, it's Mark Martin, winner of this event a couple of years back, and Jimmy Spencer from Pennsylvania in the Travis Carter car. Row 9 is the native from Virginia, Rick Mast, and the 6-time winner at Richmond, Darrell Waltrip. In row 10, it's Terry Labonte, currently tied for 3rd, and the '85 winner down at Daytona on the 4th, Greg Sachs. As our Valvoline lineup continues here, Dale Jarrett and Dick Trickle are in row 11. For row 12 this afternoon, it's Chad Little and Bobby Hamilton set to do battle. Richard Petty is in the 13th row on the inside with Derek Cope alongside. In row 14, Ricky Rudd well back today, and the guy who started here, Dave Marcus, car number 71. In the 15th row is Dale Earnhardt. Boy, what a long way back for Dale. 29th spot, and Jeff Fuller, the rookie from Massachusetts, starts alongside. Row 16 is Wally Dallenbach Jr. from Colorado, and Ted Musgrave in the number 55 getting set for a go. Finally, in the row 17 is Jimmy Means and Stan Smith, a couple of Alabama natives, and out back, Chargin' Charlie is all the way back in that 35th starting position. Lots back, came here years ago with Junie Donlevy, did some racing back here in the 70s. He's back today, tailgating the field in Donlevy's car number 90.
You know, yesterday everybody was saying, how old is Charlie Glotzback? Well, Red Farmer was here, and I was trying to find out from Red how old Charlie was, and he said he used to go watch him when he was a kid.
Yeah, sure. Now, there's a couple of storytellers. Charlie was second here in 1968 on this track. Pace car, the Pontiac pace car, bringing the field by, and again, you're looking out of Mark Martin's car number 6. As that Valvoline Ford settles down for an afternoon of adventure, on a track which always gives us a lot of excitement.
Ken, I tell you what, when this race starts, someone to really watch for is the 2 car of Rusty Wallace. Rusty in practice yesterday was a lot quicker than anyone here. If anybody's due a good day of racing, it's them. They've been off the pace and they've got the car working very well. Also, Hut Strickland, he's the quickest Chevrolet in the field. Those 2 cars showed a lot of strength in practice yesterday afternoon.
Back straightaway, car number 28, Davey Allison, picking up a little as you take a look at the weather here. It's going to break up toward the 70s before this day is done. Had a lot of rain in the last 2 or 3, but it's settled down into a beauty. Pace car bringing the field out of 3 and 4, noses down on a pit road. And here we go, 32nd annual Pontiac 400 from the Richmond International Raceway is underway. Going into the first turn, it's Elliott trying to draw away a bit. Davey Allison locks onto the rear bumper. Kyle Petty staying in 3rd. In the back straightaway and up into number 3. First time around, coming to full speed. Alan Kulwicki getting down on the inside of Sterling Marlin. They stack them 3 wide. They come down that main straightaway with Harry Gant on the bottom trying to make a move and getting shut off right there. There you see Hut Strickland in the 12 and the 30 of Michael Waltrip. Out in front. As we come around to complete lap number 2, you have Bill Elliott in the lead, Davey Allison in 2nd, Kyle Petty is in 3rd. Maintaining 4th and drawing away from that 5th place car is Sterling Marlin. Then Kulwicki is in the 5th spot. Harry Gant is back in 6th. Strickland striding right along in 7th, followed by Michael Waltrip in 8th. And Brett Bodine is in 9th. Good start for 35 cars. Nearly $700,000. Incredible payoff for a short track. Harry Gant in the 33, down on the inside, going to 1. Gant was remarkable yesterday in the Ed Whitaker car. He just gets better and better. Here's Gant down on the inside. Kulwicki high in number 7 out of 2. And Harry Gant's on his way. Picking up a spot. This for 5th. And here comes Hut Strickland with him. Alan Kulwicki's Ford getting a bit high. And Harry Gant with the Oldsmobile noses down to the bottom. Look at Hut Strickland hanging on to the bottom of that racetrack. And Strickland in number 12 is taking a spot. And Michael Waltrip, who was within 8 laps of a 2nd place finish at Daytona, and that car number 30, he's looking good in the early going. Here's your leader. It's Elliott out in front with Davey Allison in 2nd.
Again, this is not super speedway racing where you see a guy get hung out in the aerodynamic loss. This is a positioning loss. Once you get on the outside line, they take that preferred lane away from you, and it's hard to get back in line. And Alan Kulwicki's having to fight for everything he gets.
Averaging 118 miles an hour. It's Bill Elliott from Dawsonville, Georgia, out in front from the Alabama gang. Davey Allison in 2nd, and Kyle Petty looking a very strong 3rd in that Pontiac for the moment. Fords 1 and 2, Pontiac in 3. Back up front. Gives you an idea of the interval between 1st and 2nd down the back straightaway here on this 3/4 mile track. Up on the 18-degree banking and hugging the bottom of the track. Elliott looking just as strong as he did with that Tim Brewer prepared car 1 week ago.
Not only 1 week ago, Ken, all season long. At Daytona, they were a big force there, and they were involved in the wreck. Since that's happened, they've almost been unbeatable, and here he is just stretching on lead right now.
Battle beginning to develop a little further back. You see it developing for 3rd spot. That is Sterling Marlin closing in on number 42, Kyle Petty. Struggle for 3rd. Take a look at Harry Gant here, running in 5th spot in car number 33. Hut Strickland has moved around and has now lost about a 2nd to him there.
Ken, while we're watching Harry Gant here, even though he's in that position there, he's running faster than the leader right now. He's the only guy on the racetrack running faster laps than Bill Elliott.
Davey Allison was asked, do you think that the driving style of Harry Gant is unique?
No, I just do what I have to do to pace somebody. You know, I'll watch them maybe if they're, you know, like pacing cars. Some cars with the back-to-back's easy. If you get up into that top 10, then it gets harder. Then you got quicker cars, so you got to watch them maybe a lap and see what the best thing to do to beat them. And and I try to do what it takes to get under them.
Harry Gant maintaining the 5th spot in car number 33 at the moment. Winner here yesterday is Elliott, stays up in front. Davey Allison is in 2nd. Back in 10th spot right now is Rusty Wallace. Let's see what he'll do before this day is done.
I'll take the special.
I'll take the special.
I'll take the special.
And you should too. The monthly specials at True Value hardware stores, like Tough Flare AstroTurf doormats for just $5.99 each. They have a slip-resistant backing and are easy to clean too. In March, they're just $5.99 each while supplies last. They're just one of the terrific specials at True Value, the neighborhood hardware stores with national buying power.
I'll take the special.
How's that?
Great. I like these the best.
You got it.
I always tell my customers, be sure to take your credit card receipts. I should have listened to myself. Citibank for me? The other day I got a call from Citibank. Hello? It seems somebody charged some pretty fancy stuff on my card number. Citibank suspected fraud, but they said I wouldn't be responsible for the charges. I've seen Citibank look out for my customers. Seems they're also looking out for me.
Not just Visa, Citibank Visa. We've added the leading cough suppressant to the proven cold relief of Alka-Seltzer Plus to relieve your cold and cough at the same time. New Alka-Seltzer Plus cold and cough medicine in the purple box. 2 kinds of relief from only 1 medicine.
The race is on to make batteries that last longer. And today's Duracell batteries can even outrun the ones we made just a few years ago. Today's Duracell. You can't top the copper top.
I have Denorex on this side. As soon as I put Denorex on my hair, I felt like the itch was going away. The tingle feels like it's taken away the dandruff.
Denorex with conditioners, the dandruff shampoo you can feel working.
I have no dandruff, and I have no itch.
You say your eyes are red, irritated, dry? Don't hide them. Help them with Clear Eyes. It gets rid of the redness and has an extra moisturizing ingredient, too. Clear Eyes. And for allergies and colds, Clear Eyes ACR.
Richmond, Virginia is located 100 miles south of Washington, D.C. The city offers a wealth of culture and historical attractions along with first-class entertainment. Battles have been a big part of Richmond's history. This year, the city of Richmond, along with the Colonial Athletic Association, will host another battle of sorts. The CAA will salute 100 years of basketball with its annual conference tournament, Super Hoops 3 at the Richmond Coliseum. East Carolina, George Mason, UNC Wilmington, Richmond, James Madison, American, William & Mary, and Old Dominion universities will all be competing to reach the Richfood Colonial Basketball Finals on Monday, March the 9th. The past 2 years, the University of Richmond has come away victorious. The tournament winner gets an automatic bid to the NCAA basketball tournament.
Make sure you watch the CAA's championship game on Home Team Sports. That's coming up Monday, March the 9th, 7:30. Going to be a battle right to the end. Today's Pontiac 400 aerials are brought to you by Pennzoil Motor Oil. Beautiful shots of this great 3/4 mile facility, where at the present time we're 19 laps into the event. Nary a caution to date, with Bill Elliott out in front. Davey Allison running 2nd. Sterling Marlin in 3rd. Harry Gant in 4th. Kyle Petty back to 5th now. Hut Strickland 6th. Alan Kulwicki is 7th. There you see your leader, car number 11, Bill Elliott, setting a very good pace, but not getting away from the 28 of Davey Allison.
Now, Davey's able to stay right behind him right there. You know, Fords have led just about every lap this season in NASCAR competition, and it's just not so much one guy able to do it. They're all up there in the front running hard. And Bill's got about the same distance he's had for the last 10 or 12 laps. It's kind of stabilized right now, and Sterling's coming in on Davey a little bit.
Dale Earnhardt has moved from 29th position in this race up into 20th. And here you see him closing in on Dale Jarrett in the 18. Actually, they've just moved the 2 of them around Ernie Irvin, so call that a battle now for the 19th position. Jarrett versus Earnhardt. Jarrett in the Joe Gibbs car, and number 3 here. Well, the last time that Earnhardt came from this far back, Neil, that was 1984, the Daytona 500. He started 29th in 84, and he wound up in 2nd spot in that race. That was the one that Cale Yarborough won.
Yep, and one time right here at this track, he wrecked a car in practice and totaled his car and had to start a new car and won the race from the rear. So it's not out of the question for that team to be able to come back to the front. Again, there's one guy that's really making a move also. Ricky Rudd started 27th, and he's up to 17th place right now. So as we're watching this, Ricky's really coming through the pack also.
We talked to Ken Schrader about why Earnhardt is so successful here at Richmond.
We're still trying to figure out how he won the 5 championships. You know, I mean, Dale and the whole Richard Childress team is just a real good team. And there's certain tracks that everybody does better at, and obviously this is one of his good ones. The thing that makes that team so good, though, is their bad ones are just a 10th place car, you know.
There he is, and he's now battling, as you see, Ken Schrader in the 25 car. He is in 14th position, and you see right behind him Jeff Bodine, now carrying the number 15 colors, making a move on Schrader. Fight a little further up in the field here. That's for 14th spot. Schrader on the outside, and trying to nose down on the inside comes Bodine. Bodine made a lot of print this week out of his efforts up at Lake Placid on a bobsled. He finally found something that would scare him to death, he said.
Yeah, he wanted to go for him and try to drive the thing, but he said once he got there, he was really impressed with it. He's the first one to admit he couldn't drive one competitively.
Well, but he tried to drive it, and you got to give him an A for effort on that. Those things, just a couple of pieces of rope. Good night, nurse. That's pretty exciting stuff. This is exciting stuff here as Bill Elliott continues to show his stuff and strut around this 3/4 mile track. Dr. Dick Berggren has a report for us.
Well, if you folks were watching WTBS last fall for the Charlotte race, you saw that number 11 car win with Jeff Bodine behind the wheel. The car Elliott's driving today is the same car as well that won last weekend at Rockingham. But here's a cute little story about this thing. Every other Ford in the field has got the Ford Robert Yates corporate cylinder head, except this one. Junior said, I want my heads on this car. So although this car has a winning history, it's got a unique engine under the hood.
Putting a lap on Wally Dolan back there. Here's Rick Benjamin.
We've been watching the progress of Kyle Petty. At the top of the broadcast, we talked about how Kyle was hoping he could stay toward the front. He qualified well. Well, it's going much like last week. Kyle Petty is backing up. He started in the top 5. He's back to 10th position here in the early going.
We have completed 30 laps this time by, all green flag laps to date. As you see, Elliott beginning to disassemble the field, plowing his way up around some of the back markers. Here he is working on Jeff Fuller, who's making his first Winston Cup appearance in that number 88 out of Auburn, Massachusetts. Kid that was second in the modified standings a year ago.
Well, I tell you, Ken, we're sitting there watching Elliott run this deal, and he's really got the car hooked up. What we're in danger of right here, he's running so good, he's going to start lapping some really good race cars very soon.
Back about a second, maybe a second and a half, is the Davey Allison car maintaining the second spot, but it's Bill Elliott in a class by himself for the moment, Neil.
Just a minute ago, I was talking about Rudd moved up to 17th. He's past these other guys. He's up in the 14th place. He's really marching to the front. He's making as aggressive a move as anyone on the racetrack right now.
And remember that Rudd has come from well back in this field. Ricky Rudd in the car number 5 had started well back, 27th, when the thing got underway. Getting 32 laps notched here already, and seeing Elliott just drawing away and trying to make this race look like Rockingham a week ago, where he took Dale Earnhardt's title, Dominator.
You know,
with it.
Here's Mark Martin. We're looking out of his car. There's Dale Jarrett right in front of him. Dale was running good the first race, but he's slipping just a little bit now. We can see it.
From Mark Martin's car, let's take a look at the telemetry here and see what he pulls up for RPM. See him coming down in the corner. He's coming off the corner now. Down the main straightaway. Back to what, 7,800? Gets it right up about $8,000 there for a moment before he touches it off into turn 1.
I think I saw about 8,300 for just a minute. People wonder what kind of RPM we turn these cars. They don't turn that big RPM, but just for a split second, once you'll see a big number, all of a sudden it'll disappear. See, the front straightaway just turned 7,300 then, so it changed. Excuse me, that was the back straightaway, 7,300.
Well, and who says these short tracks aren't quick? Do you see that thing flash up to 131 miles an hour?
There's 8,200 again going down in the first turn. There's about 200 RPM difference in the front and the back straightaway, and it's showing up right here.
Yes,
TBS. I just talked to Steve Neal talking about Mark Martin's car. They said he's just a little bit loose. They're going to try and jack around a wedge in the car, tighten it up for him on the next pit stop.
He's running back in 20th position as you watch these pictures. Interesting stuff out of Mark Martin's car number 6 from Roush Racing. And there you see old Mark doing his trick.
I'm sure right here they're telling Mark that Bill Elliott is less than a half a straightaway behind him. When you've got a car that's a little ill-handling like Mark is, you just can't go any harder. You'll start going slower laps. So he's got to pace himself, hope for a caution, and not let Bill Elliott lap him.
Trying to check out early here, Bill Elliott with the advantage over Davey Allison and the field. And he's putting it on everybody at this point. Just moves around the number 55 of Ted Musgrave. Ted had a great race down at Daytona. Nice guy and a good team. That's that Jasper team.
You know, Ken, just a little bit early, Randy was talking about the heads on that General Junior Johnson. He developed a set of heads, and his is working very well for that car.
Ernie Irvan here, number 4, is fading. He started 10th. As you look here, he's back in 22nd position and about to fall into the jaws of some others that want a shot at him here. The 8 car pulling up, Dick Trickle on him. He's only 3 seconds from being lapped at this point. And there goes Trickle, looking for a shot, and off his feed today, the Morgan McClure car with Ernie Irvan at the controls, number 4.
Ken, we're seeing some of the Chevrolet cars that usually are the front-running race cars. I'm not so sure that a lot of this pressure and this dominance by Ford is making some of your established, well, front-running Chevrolets do things they normally don't do. When you're running up front, you don't change things.
Taking too many chances?
They're having to try things that normally they wouldn't do to try to close that gap. Sometimes you make those chances, you back up instead of going forward.
Oh, you see Richard Petty out here. Hey, how about this? Richard Petty is leading Dale Earnhardt in the point standings. He's tied for 11. Your buddy Earnhardt's back at 13th.
Well, I tell you, Richard Petty, this is his last year, and I'm sure everybody here would like to see him win some races and be right there in the points battle.
And here comes the number 10 into the picture, right behind Richard Petty. You see the 10 of Derek Cope, and Barry Dotson is again the crew chief on that number 10 here today.
Yeah, Barry and them are trying to put their team back together, and while they're working on that, he's working with some of these other cars. Very knowledgeable with these chassis, and he's an asset to any team that he goes to.
Richard Petty moving up for 21st spot, dropping back to number 4. Looking pretty good now. He's at 2 16th place finishes back-to-back. Take a look at this as Kyle Petty is on the outside. And old DW, number 17, down on the bottom.
Ken, I'll tell you, just like with Kyle Petty's situation, it makes you start questioning. You can run such a fast qualifying lap, you can't get that reliability for the race, and I'm sure they're scratching their heads now.
Battle for 10th right there. Into 10th is Waltrip. In 11th is Kyle Petty, number 42, and that's Michael Waltrip, who had that sensational run at Daytona. I got to tell you, I thought one of the classiest things we saw in Daytona was Chuck Ryder after their car with 8 laps to go, looking for a top 3 finish. He was a real contender, blew up. That's a class act, that number 30 team. Here's your leader, Bill Elliott, in the car number 11. And as he continues to draw away, and we're following some of those battles further back in the pack. Interesting development just a little further back. Sterling Marlin is on the march. He's pulling around at number 22, and he has Davey Allison. As they come off that back straightaway, take a look at this. Car number 22, Sterling Marlin, goes into 2nd place. Interval 1st to 2nd. This is Elliott back to Marlin now. Is 2 8/10 seconds, Neil. And hey, we're only 44 laps into this thing.
I tell you what, it's crazy to see somebody be able to come up with something so strong. Here's the 22 car moving the inside of a lap car. Sterling's car is just like the one of Elliott's. They've got the same motor combinations, and now he's coming to the front.
Greg Saxon, number 41, gets pinned against the wall, and down to the inside comes the number 22, moving it on Chad Little in the Trop Arctic, number 66. The 22 of Sterling Marlin, still looking for that first win. He seems star-crossed in Winston Cup racing. So close, 5 times, yet never a checker.
And Junior sure put a lot of confidence in Sterling and giving him good race cars. And on any given day, they can win a race. They just haven't had the right things happen, and they will win.
All green flag to date. 46 laps of it here as Bill Elliott is showing the strength, the power, the might of that Junior Johnson racing team. One car in trouble coming out of 4 is number 18. He's sliding, picking it back up, but Dale Jarrett seems to have lost the handle a little on that Gibbs car.
Completely sideways up off forward. When you do that, you pay the price for several laps. It'll take him a while and get it cooled back down where he can run with it.
Rick Mast is in 23rd spot, and he's about to be overtaken and put down a lap by the leader, Bill Elliott scorching this track, averaging 118 miles per hour. Ernie Irvin's just gone a lap down.
Yeah, Bill just went around him, and that's one of the strong GM products, just went a lap down.
So there you see it. Bill Elliott showing his stuff. And they may be ringing the bell in Dawsonville again today, as well as the siren.
James Bond weekend continues tonight. Take it to the limit with Roger Moore. And boldly go where no spy has gone before. Moonraker. 7 Eastern tonight on TBS.
Things are different. The all-new Grand Am Sports Sedan proves it. Things are better because inside and out, the Grand Am's equipped to perform. And it even gives you better mileage than Accord or Camry for a whole lot less. In fact, Consumers Digest named the Grand Am a Best Buy. Pontiac's new Grand Am. A new kind of excitement.
In here, Ms. Rollins. Some patients' worst colds are at the end of the season. Good time to try this. Advil Cold and Sinus. It has 2 ingredients doctors like for colds. One for pain, another for congestion. Each has been recommended over 20 million times. And they're both right here, without a prescription. And not a moment too soon.
Tough on colds like Advil is on pain. Advil Cold and Sinus. Advanced formula for the cold season.
Head and Shoulders for my serious dandruff? Blue is better. Extra medicated Selsun Blue.
With a medicine doctors recommend most. Medicine that relieves flaking better than Head and Shoulders.
Blue is better.
Selsun Blue, doctor recommended #1.
To pull her through a nasty lunch, Mylanta uses aluminum and magnesium. But his antacid is Tums, and Tums has calcium.
Something my body needs anyway. I like that.
Calcium-rich Tums.
The NBA on TNT. 4 great teams, 2 nights, back-to-back. Oh, yeah! Tuesday, the Lakers and Knicks at 8. Wednesday, the Celtics and Bulls at 8. The NBA on TNT. Bigger than life.
Welcome back to Richmond, Virginia and Richmond International Raceway. The Pontiac Excitement 400 unfolding for you this afternoon. 53 laps completed so far. It's been a Bill Elliott show here this afternoon. One of the stories we'll be covering for you here at the STP Pit Communication Center, the True Value Hard Charger standings. True Value Hardware posts a special $1,500 in award money to the driver who leads the most laps. The top 5 score points, looking toward a season bonus of $50,000 in the Hard Charger standings. Here's where we are for the season to date. Davey Allison over Bill Elliott and Morgan Shepherd, Harry Gant and Sterling Marlin, your top 5. But gentlemen, today, the way things are going, Bill Elliott may add substantially to his lead in these Hard Charger standings.
One car just coming onto pit road and looks like he's in trouble is the number 26 here. You see Brett Bodine, who had been running in 10th, is back behind the wall with the Kenny Bernstein car. And the Quaker State folks looking that one over.
It looks like they're working on the right rear axle on that car. They're pulling the axle flange off. Ken, this is leading into something these guys are doing to work on these rear ends with these.
Not just the motor. Out and back they're fiddling with these Fords now.
They're playing with them. They're trying to get that radial tire to work. They put a little bit of camber in the rear tire and they turn it, breaks the axles in them, and it looks like it's what's happened.
And this is reminiscent again of Daytona when remember he was out early. I think he only ran a dozen or so laps at Daytona before they went behind the wall. Here it's lap 55.
They're pulling the axle flange off. Looks like they got another axle in their hand. That's not a very big job. The problem is getting the old axle out of there. They're right now trying to pull in there and pull it out, see if it's in 2 pieces.
I think Dick Berggren can give us some more insight on what they're doing out here and is creating these problems.
Sure can, Ken. What they're doing is these radial tires like a little camber. They like to have the top tipped in. Well, that works out great except for the fact that the axle doesn't mate well with the hub. That tends to break either the axle or the hub. 2 manufacturers have come up with hubs that solve the problem, but NASCAR says they're illegal. Well, this team had one of those confiscated today. They didn't know it was illegal, but they sure found out when NASCAR took it away. The price, they've just broken an axle. There's a lot of guys out here that have bent their axle housings and who have their fingers crossed that this doesn't happen to them this afternoon.
Neil?
Ken, you know, these guys, to really make it simple, they're actually bending the top of that wheel in like you do on the front tire. The front tire lays over on a race car. There's no way to make the rear one lay over. They're just bending the housing and in turn making the axle flex.
So you're at risk.
Only way to cure that is just to get a sloppy fit. Grind and weld and push a little bit and let the axle fit sloppy in there. In turn, sometimes it'll snap. And they found out it's faster, but it's not very reliable.
Yeah, coming off a corner, I would imagine if you're trying to light it up, that could really create a problem. But that's the story out here you see on the 26 car. Here is your leader. We're showing 60 laps now complete. This is Elliott, once again disseminating the field. He's well out in front, but there's a new man in second place. That is the 22 Sterling Marlin, who got by Davey Allison about 15-20 laps back, and he's closed in. It was at 2.8. Now it's about 2.5 seconds back to this number 22. Then you see Rick Nass running a lap down at this point in second spot. Who's in third? How about number 12? Hut Strickland is in third. Here he is. He has moved around his cousin, so to speak. And so, for that matter, has the number 7. Alan Kulwicki has moved to fourth. That means that the man that started outside of the front row, Davey Allison, has fallen back into the clutches of fifth spot, and Harry Gant. Here you see them. Gant closing in on Davey Allison.
Ken, Randy Pemberton's down in the pits, and he has some more to add to us about the problem with these rear ends. Randy?
Well, on top of the rear ends, a lot of these cars are having trouble with the tires spinning coming off the corners. But believe it or not, I'm sitting in the 28 pits. They have 8 brand new sets of tires sitting here. I talked to the tire man before the race on this car, and they were concerned about the right front tire. This is a Martinsville construction with a softer compound, and they were talking about tearing the right front edge on this tire during the race. And at 60 laps in, no one has run this far in practice sessions, 60 laps on a set of tires.
Well, I tell you, that's a bad feeling, too, to be out there not knowing the limit, how far you can go. What dictates a pit stop on these cars is fuel mileage. They'll go 100 so miles, and you just hope the other parts of the car will make it. And when it gets to the point to where the tire is the first thing you have to change, the only way you find out, you run until something happens.
Find out we may very shortly as we get up towards 70 laps. 65 now complete. And here's Elliott lapping the 20th car. That is number 68, Bobby Hamilton, now going 1 lap down. It has been flawlessly driven by all these great Winston Cup stars today. Elliott continues to command, dominate this race. Let's take a look at the telemetry as we follow this story. Look what's happening here in Mark Martin's Valvoline car number 6.
They're showing the car in 4th gear, which you never shift except on restarts. We saw it go up into, see, if you notice now, Mark just got lapped. He's not turning the kind of RPM he turned when we saw him just a few laps ago. He's looking at, we'll see 75, 7,600, almost 8. We were looking at 8,200 a while ago. The car's off the pace a little bit. He can't hold the throttle down as long as he did before, and he's starting to lose ground. He just got lapped a few laps ago by Bill Elliott, but he's still seeing pretty good mile per hour numbers, but the motor, he can't hold the throttle down as long as he needs to.
Elliott is doing it all. He's his own rabbit, and he's his own hound out here today. He's leading this field, he's drawing away, and he's chasing the rest of the field right off the racetrack.
Well, Junior Johnson's known to have some pretty good coon dogs. It looks like he's got a hound dog that's running today.
I was about to say, let's hope they're not barking at the wrong tree, but I'll disregard that. I'm sorry.
Thank you.
Elliott first, Marlin second, Hut Strickland third, Alan Kulwicki in fourth. And look at this number 11 fly. Again, if you're just joining us, we're at Richmond International Raceway. It has been sold out for weeks. And right now, watching a command performance by Bill Elliott, who's flogging this car number 11, and no matter how hard he runs it, it just seems to stay with him.
One thing that you can get involved in today at home, of course, is the Gillette Halfway Challenge. Give us a call now, 95 cents a call. It's a 1-900 number, 436-7000. You must be 18 to call. After halfway, one of our viewers will be selected. You'll be called back. If you can tell us the driver who is leading at halfway, you will win a Chevrolet Lumina Z34, a brand new car. The driver who leads at halfway wins $10,000 in the Gillette Halfway Challenge. So far, gentlemen, Davey Allison has won 2 of those Halfway Challenge prizes this year, but at the moment, he doesn't seem to be in contention.
I'll tell you what, Bill Elliott stands a good chance of leading this thing himself if it keeps going green like it is. As they run green, he continues to pull away. It's going to take a caution or some pit stop for these other guys to correct their cars.
Neil, take a look at this battle going on. This is 10th position. And there you see Ricky Rudd in the number 5. And right behind him in 11th spot, DW, car number 17, Darrell Waldron. Rudd, who won here in '84. Remember that Bud Moore ride only 2 weeks after that big crash down there in the Busch Clash at Daytona? You were in that show, weren't you?
Ken, I won the Busch Clash that day, and I remember looking in the mirror, and I saw that thing end over end, and I came back around, and I saw Rudd's car laying there, and I said, man, that, just gives you a terrible feeling. And then the next terrible feeling was he kicked our tails up here at Richmond 2 weeks later, so I had 2 bad feelings in a row.
Here's Waltrip working on Rudd in the number 5 car. His old ride. His old mate, Waddell Wilson. He now with Jeff Hammond. Darrell Waltrip in the 17, looking very good here at this point.
I walked through the garage this morning. Darrell was propped back leaning against the wall talking to Lenny Pond, who I hadn't seen in a long time. And I said, how's it going, Darrell? And he kind of gave that old wink. He said, we're ready. So he feels like he's really got the car in good shape for today.
So much fun to come to Virginia and see some of the greats like Lenny Pond. His 2 sons are racing now. They had a little short track sportsman car they've been running this past year. And Lenny's here watching today. He certainly gave us some great moments in Winston Cup racing for a long time. In fact, he beat Waltrip out for Rookie of the Year back in the early 70s. He's here today, Lenny Pond. Taking a look at this battle that continues further back in the field. You're following the fight for 10th spot. Ricky Rudd and Darrell Waltrip right in him. And remember this, just behind them from 29th position is the car number 3, Earnhardt, beginning to knock on the door. You don't ever want to bet against that number 3, do you?
It just, at times they'll get way behind and you'll say, well, they're out of it. They might be out of it, but they're still struggling to get back to the front. He's got it working a little bit better.
This car number 15, that is Jeff Bodine, and on the outside of him is Rusty Wallace. That is the 14th car, and that is 14th and 15th, about to get lapped at 77 laps. Do you believe it? Elliott is on a roll.
Ken, what is so hard for me to believe about that? I sat there just like you did yesterday and clocked lap after lap after lap. Rusty Wallace was the strongest guy on the racetrack. Bill Elliott just driving away from him right now.
The knock on Elliott was always about the short tracks, and he was great on the super speedways. And that the kind of driver that Junior Johnson loved was Cale Yarborough, Bobby Allison, Neil Bonnet, even Harry Gant. Those kind of guys that will muscle a car, shove it in there. And that wasn't Elliott's style. But you give him, Elliott, a Junior Johnson ride here at Richmond, and look at this show. We're at 78 laps in. He is now lapping those cars up in 14th, 15th, 16th positions. This is incredible, the performance out of the Budweiser car number 11 of Bill Elliott today.
Hey, race fans, Budweiser asks, who won? February 23rd, 1986, Richmond, Virginia. With 3 laps to go, it comes down to a duel between Dale Earnhardt and Darrell Waltrip. Darrell had hid in the back of the pack most of the day. He made his move on the backstretch, and it looked like the race would be his. But was it? Here's a list to help you jog your memory.
Alka-Seltzer Plus goes to the Arctic Circle, where the toughest colds live.
The cold is miserable in this environment. Alka-Seltzer Plus takes care of the aches, the runny nose. It does the job.
Alka-Seltzer Plus fights tough winter colds with a combination of ingredients you can't get anywhere else.
Alka-Seltzer Plus has done exactly what I've needed it to do. If I don't go to work, the kids go hungry.
Alka-Seltzer Plus, tough medicine for tough winter colds. And for your tough sinus symptoms, try Alka-Seltzer Plus sinus allergy medicine.
What does it take to be a mountain man? Let's see. A mountain man must be fearless, sure-footed, willing to answer the call of the wild. But most of all, a mountain man should be thirsty for a smooth bush beer or an easy drinking bush light. So, head for the mountains and see if you have what it takes to be a real mountain man.
Inside your smooth-running engine is a torture chamber. And under these grueling conditions, only one leading motor oil in every grade meets the world's toughest requirements for viscosity breakdown. Castrol. Castrol provides maximum protection against viscosity and thermal breakdown. So use Castrol. Why make things tougher on your engine? Castrol GTX, engineered for today's smaller cars.
Drag racing results on Castrol's NHRA now. Dial 1-900-468-NHRA.
When the job is tough, you need the best. And when you need the best,
you reach for channel lock. For the power. The precision. For just plain counting on, there's only one. Channel lock. Be sure you're getting genuine channel lock tools. Look for this trademark.
If you guessed none of the above, you're right, because seconds after Darrell made his pass, he and Earnhardt tangled in turn 3. The melee took out the top 4 cars. Kyle Petty, who was running 5th, suddenly found himself in 1st place. He followed the pace car home for his first career Winston Cup win. Who Won is brought to you by Budweiser, the king of beers with that clean, crisp, cold taste. Nothing beats a Bud.
Welcome back to Richmond, Virginia, Richmond International Raceway. We are 85 laps into the Pontiac Excitement 400, and we're in the STP Pit Communication Center to take a look at the top 5 in the standings as we've described. Bill Elliott just wearing out the field today from the pole. Sterling Marlin, Hut Strickland, Alan Kulwicki, and Davey Allison trying to keep him in sight. A question for Neil Bonnet. Neil, when you've got a car as strong as Bill Elliott is today, do you think he's pushing too hard? Should he be a little more conservative at this stage of the race?
Rick, if it was anyone other than Bill Elliott, I'd question that thought too. But Bill is a type driver that doesn't really abuse his equipment. Sometimes when a car is working as well as Elliott's is, he's running the easiest lap on the racetrack. He's not spinning the wheels, the motor's working good. He's probably putting out less effort than the guys trying to keep from getting laps. So Bill's the type guy that really takes care of equipment, and he's just driving away from him.
He sure is. He's driving right around Ken Schrader, a lap the 14th place car. This is on lap 88. You see Schrader in the 25 up on the high side, and here is Elliott continuing to make mincemeat out of this Winston Cup field. Now, among the cars that he has lapped of recent, he has lapped Jimmy Spencer just moments ago, and he has lapped Jeff Bodine, and he's lapped the guy who qualified 3rd, and we were just talking about, Kyle Petty. Kyle Petty has fallen under the power of Junior Johnson's number 11. Here's Dick Bergman.
And I'm with Tim Brewer. He's crew chief for Bill Elliott. Tim, is he pushing that thing too hard, too soon?
I couldn't hear the question.
Is he pushing too hard, too soon?
No, he's just riding right now. Just
don't
whatever.
tell me there's still more in that thing.
Well, I don't know. I hadn't talked to him. He's just riding the thing around right now, putting laps on the board. Sterling, he looks like he's in pretty good shape. Some of the other guys, too early to tell yet, Dick.
This is just like watching in your living room. There is no excitement in this pit, no emotion. They're all just standing around with one foot on pit wall, calmly watching their car decimate the field.
Here you see the number 2 car, Rusty Wallace, coming on pit road. Let's go down to Randy Pembert.
Well, Rusty Wallace came over the radio and said, guys, I need 4 tires. In yesterday's practice session, we saw Rusty run very well on brand new tires. But as we speculated today, how long can these cars go on tires? Well, today, Rusty Wallace has been falling off the pace. So simply said, they crank another round of wedge in the left side. Hopefully that will tighten it up for Rusty Wallace.
Well, I'm sure right now they're ready to try anything because he was so quick yesterday. I'm sure they're shocked that the car fell off this bad. And 4 tires will certainly help him for a while, but it's not going to cure it unless he
came in and he was
else.
running to 19th. Look at this battle, Neil, for 2nd position. There is car number 12. Strickland down on the inside, blasting underneath Sterling Marlin, taking over in 2nd spot. And falling back is Alan Kulwicki. He is now in that 4th position. It's Hut Strickland in car number 12, who is on the roll. Hut Strickland pulling up in that Chevrolet and taking over in 2nd position.
Ken, I was going through the garage this morning. I walked over and talked to Bobby Allison, and I said, Bobby, how's things going? He said, let me tell you, man, we got the fastest Chevrolet here. The car's really running good, and they're looking for a good day, and it's happening right now.
You know that Bobby Allison's a car owner. He's won here at Richmond.
As a car owner?
Yeah, back in '74. He's driving his own car. And
I should know that. I worked on that car.
Yeah, he ended Richard's 7-race winning streak here. Good old days. Remember that? Wasn't that number 2 car?
Yeah, but at that time, I worked on them at the garage, and they'd load them up and leave home, and they'd go race, and I'd see them when they come back all bent up. So I didn't get to make all the trips.
That was number 12. That was the number 12. And remember, it won his first race up in Oxford, Maine.
We had those little shop right there by Bobby's house. He cranked them out, and he was jumping on the factory guys. Everybody was laughing, but he was able to wipe the smile off their face a couple of times.
Here's Hut Strickland trying to wipe some smiles off some Ford faces today as he rolls that number 12 up into second. And I believe he's closing in. That interval has shrunk some between first and second position. We'll check it back for you as they come around here.
Ken, this might be some of the writing on the wall, but Strickland is running a different type of cylinder head. He's running some of the new Chevrolet heads. This Ford is making these guys try some different things. You've got to close that gap, just like Elliott sitting there driving away. That car of Strickland is trying a little bit different cylinder head. He seems to be the strongest Chevrolet. That might be the direction to go in.
They put a lap on that Trop Arctic car, and at the interval actually has grown some more. It's a little over 3 seconds now between first and second, by which Elliott leads. Strickland stays second, Sterling Marlin third, Alan Kulwicki is in fourth. Bill Elliott dominating here. Is there anything tough about this track for Bill Elliott?
You know, every now and then you get kind of caught off guard because going into turn, you know, coming off turn 2 is always a place, but you got to pinch the car down. And going into turn 3, because you have to make such an abrupt turn, and you got to sweep the corner coming out. So, you know, but if your car's hooked up, it's regardless of what the track does, you know, you can pretty much handle the circumstances.
Let's go to Randy Pemberton.
Well, Kenny Schrader, the latest casualty to Bill Elliott's speed out here on the track, is in. 4 tires Kenny wanted. Oh, we got a blown engine on the front stretch. Jimmy Means.
Smoker and caution for the first time today. That's at lap 99. Just as we come to lap 100, Jimmy Means erupts in smoke. Glotzback going by him on the inside. And Jimmy Means out of Alabama, car number 52. I understand the Statler brothers is somehow involved in that sponsorship, or else they own the building or something, that sponsor on the side of that car.
Boy, I hope they're involved some way. Jimmy Means is a hard racer, and he's down to the point to where he doesn't have many more races he can run without some help. I'm glad to see some good sponsorship for him.
Pace car has the field in tow. Remember, it's 40 miles an hour on pit road here today. We've now completed 1/4 of the distance in this 300-mile, 400-lap race. And we will be back with more from Richmond International Raceway and the Pontiac Excitement 400 after this.
Racing, I can't explain it. You're kind of in a limbo zone. Time's different, speed's different, everything works different. It sounds totally cosmic. It's out there somewhere. It's out there.
Kyle Petty and Mellow Yellow. There's nothing mellow about him.
Your dream is sea breezes off Cape Cod. But it's sweat, not dreams, that's going to get you there. And you need a deodorant you can depend on. Old Spice deodorant actually helps stop odor before it starts by killing odor-causing bacteria on contact. 99%. That's odor prevention you can count on with the clean scent of Old Spice.
Permission to come aboard?
Old Spice deodorant. It does a number on odor-causing bacteria, 99%.
Inside your smooth-running engine is a torture chamber. And under these grueling conditions, only one leading motor oil in every grade meets the world's toughest requirements for viscosity breakdown. Castrol. Castrol provides maximum protection against viscosity and thermal breakdown. So use Castrol. Why make things tougher on your engine? Castrol GTX, engineered for today's smaller cars.
Drag racing results on Castrol's NHRA now. Dial 1-900-468-NHRA.
You say your eyes are red, irritated, dry? Don't hide them. Help them with Clear Eyes. It gets rid of the redness and has an extra moisturizing ingredient, too. Clear Eyes. And for allergies and colds, Clear Eyes ACR.
To pull her through a nasty lunch, regular Rolaids uses an aluminum salt. But his antacid is Tums, and Tums has calcium.
Something my body needs anyway. I like that.
Calcium-rich Tums.
We're back with you again at Richmond International Raceway. It started out as a little half-mile track, and my, how it has grown. 3/4 of a mile, 60,000 people. In its day, when it first was created, this was the old Strawberry Hill Raceway. Richard Petty said they must have harvested the crop just before we raced on it that first time. Man, it was rough. Pennzoil aerial team today. Billy Bates giving us these great pictures of Richmond International Raceway. If you've never been here, come in September and see that night race. It's going to be a dandy. You know, they're going to add another 8,000 seats to this place down in turns 1 and 2 by the time we come back in September.
I bet you they're already sold, because every time they build seats, there's already people ready to sit in. You know, Petty was talking about how rough this racetrack was. I wonder if everybody's talking about how rough he's been on the competition. I think he's won 13 races
That's
at
right.
this place.
13 races he's won out here. He stayed out. He's been trying to make up a lap here. He's right behind the pace car at this time. And as we get ready to restart, we'll be at lap 102 when they come by, 103 when they come by this time. Elliott secures that lead another time. Hut Strickland is in second, but Harry Gant is in third.
Boy, saved by that caution flag. With, you know, it's a shame to see something like Jimmy Means had problem, but about 4 or 5 of the other guys were right on the verge of being lapped. Earnhardt was 4.2 seconds. Trickle was the next car. When that caution came out, it saved several of these guys going a lap down.
From the Valvoline in-car camera of Mark Martin in number 6. And that car has been off its feed today. Well back in the standings, about 21st at this moment, getting ready for the restart. Give you some pictures of how it goes around this 3/4 mile track. And now we're with Chad Little's car, number 66. Chad, can you spend a moment with us, Chad Little?
Yeah, sure can. I think we're going green this lap, but the car's just been tight on me coming out. It goes in good. It starts to turn in the middle, but then it gets real tight coming out of the corners, and so I just got to kind of baby the throttle coming out, and that's what these guys are getting me right now. But we'll keep working on it, and hopefully we'll have a good day by the time it's over.
They're going to turn another lap under caution before they turn you loose out there today, Chad. Did you just miss on the setup? Is this track changed after all this weather? What's the story?
Well, you know, Richmond's kind of notorious for being a tight racetrack, and we thought we had it loose enough at the last practice session, but obviously we just kind of misguessed it a little bit. Hopefully we'll be able to fix it during the race with the little changes we can make during the caution.
Well, hopefully we can talk to you a bit later this afternoon. Thanks so much, Chad Little, in the Phillips 66 Trop Arctic automobile. Chad Little, so easy to miss on a short track. I mean, there's just no forgive on this thing.
When you're talking to Chad and he says he's got a little bit of push, he's not talking about something you can't turn the rear wheels, you know, the front wheels and just keep sliding. He's talking about he can't use the throttle as he wants to. Just a little bit off, you pay a big price.
Ready for a restart. Pace car coming in. We'll get a green at lap 106. The lineup has Elliott, Strickland, Gant, Davey Allison, Sterling Marlin, Alan Kulwicki, Michael Waltrip, Ricky Rudd lined up on the outside. Rounding out the top 10. Earnhardt is in tonight. Darrell Waltrip is the 10th man as they get that green and go for it another time here at Richmond.
Hut Strickland had to work a lot of traffic to get into second position. He's right behind Bill Elliott. Now let's see if Hut has anything for Bill.
First caution of the day. Just being completed after Jimmy Means blew an engine from lap 101 to 106 under caution. To the stripe. And Elliott says, see you later. Here's Harry Gant, the number 33, putting another lap on Richard Petty. And there is the number 2 car, which we thought was so stout after yesterday's last qualifying period, the happy hour. There wasn't anything faster than that number 2 car. I wonder if they over-massaged.
Well, they worked on it a lot. While we're talking about that 2 car, we brought up the question earlier about tire wear. That was the ultimate test right at 100 miles. Let's go down to Randy Pemberton and see what he found out about tire wear.
I talked to Todd Parrott. He's the engineer on these tires down here in the pits. He said there are absolutely no blisters. There are no markings of any sort that would cause them of concern. Rusty said the car is simply loose. The tires are fine.
Take a look at number 22 here, just skirting down to the inside. And here's Gant and then 33, also making his move for second spot. Harry Gant on the bottom. Mr. September coming out here as the March Hare in car number 33 and getting around Hut Strickland in the 12. Harry tasted victory yesterday, and it tasted good. Here comes the bandit, Harry Gant in number 33. Remember that 15 is a lap car. The Butmore number 15, Jeff Bodine, running 1 lap down to the leader, Bill Elliott, and about to go a lap down to Harry Gant as they come out of turn 2. Gant to the inside making the move.
If he makes this pass, Kenny, to give him a clear run at Elliott, we'll see if Harry can close that gap a little bit.
Now you see the Davey Allison car back in 3rd spot. Hut Strickland in 4th. Well, they've retrieved whatever the problem was on that 28 car, and Robert Yates, Larry McReynolds had put Davey Allison right back in the hunt.
Ken, we've already seen that motor-wise, Davey can match virtually anything on the racetrack. Chassis-wise, when they get it right, he goes to the front. They might have the chassis better. He's coming back. And as we say coming back, he's driving right under Jeff Bodine and pulling right up behind Harry Gant.
Hey, Neil, consider this. 1992 Ford laps led, 753 Chevy 7.
That's hard to believe.
Isn't that remarkable?
As close as the competition has been in years past in Winston Cup. Here's Davey trying to get under Harry Gant. It's just hard to imagine that the Chevrolet's been shut out as much as they have.
Davey Allison grinds out another spot here in our live coverage today from Richmond International Raceway in the Pontiac Excitement 400. Harry Gant stays right in there, but now he's looking up from third spot. He'd come to second. Falls back one. Elliott still in front. Allison now second. Gant is in third. Sterling Marlin is in fourth, and Hut Strickland is in fifth. Neil, you made a fair amount of money racing, but 2 races into the year, and Davey Allison's made, what, $370,000, $320,000, something like that? 2 races into the year.
Man, I tell you, it's unbelievable, but the sport is growing so much. At Daytona, when you win Daytona, the Super Bowl, stuff starts going your direction. And when he got that one behind him now, it's just kind of downhill. He just rakes it in the rest of the year.
You know what I like about Davey Allison is after he won the Daytona 500 this year, and they're still talking about the great finishes. He said, my biggest thrill was still to finish in second behind my dad in 1988 when father and son came across 1 and 2. Not a bad kid at all.
I remember doing that myself a few times with Bobby and finishing second to him, and it was just like winning the race. The days like that happened at Daytona with him first and second, nobody loses. There's nobody that loses a finish like that, and boy, I tell you, it's going to stick with Davey for a long time.
For Davey Allison, how has life been after winning the Daytona 500?
It's been a lot of fun. You know, I never really realized what kind of recognition and what kind of attention came along with it, but you know, I got to say the fans out there have been great. The family's been great, but there have been a lot of demands on my time since then.
I bet there have been some demands.
Yeah, but it's nice demands. When they want to see you, that's a lot of fun.
Changes your life around a little. Darrell Waltrip said he thought after he won all those championships, those 3 Winston Cup titles, hey, what could be better? Then he won the Daytona 500. He said it was another dimension, just another whole world when you win that race.
It's a pretty strong guy saying that when you talk about Waltrip being impressed with winning Daytona.
Well, that was back a few. Right now it's 92. And here's the story. It's Ford's trying to pace themselves out in front, first and second. And guess what? Davey Allison is closing on Bill Elliott.
Well, Tim Brewer just told us a while ago Bill Elliott was just riding around. Davey's going to make him see how much he wants to ride and how much he wants to race because he's closing it up.
The iron fist grip that Elliott has had on this race may be getting just a little shaky now. Here comes Davey. He's got a better line on the bottom out of 3 and 4. As you take a look at the standings, the Napa standings after 110 laps. Excuse me.
That's right, Ken. We were just talking before about Davey's car running, but getting the handle back on it. He's in the bottom of the racetrack. He couldn't do that earlier. Now he's in the bottom, and he's able to make up some ground on Bill. Going down this corner, Bill's been sliding out. Davey's been sticking it down on the bottom and staying there. There he is, right in the bottom of the racetrack.
For first place, back to the line. This at lap 121. There's nothing like the thunder of Winston Cup cars, and what a grand battle. Davey Allison from Alabama and Georgia's pride, the great Bill Elliott, going at it here at Richmond this afternoon. Here's Allison nipping along on the bottom of the track, just getting a look at that lead, and back comes Elliott another time.
Ken, this is the best shot he's had. If he's beside him right here, they'll go down in this corner. If he can just equal him up this back straight, which is hard to do.
Old gentle Bill is on the outside, working just as well out there as Davey does on the inside. And they have a lot of empty space in front of them. It is a straightaway to the next car. Elliott again showing the strength of the Junior Johnson car on the outside. Back again comes Davey.
This is where everybody says, why do you race this hard early in a race? Because these are 2 racers. You can't tell these guys just to sit back and ride. One of the other guys thinks they can lead, and they're not going to give it up.
Bonus points here, folks. Bonus points for leading a lap. Back to the line they come. Squeezing him up a little as Davey Allison does not intimidate Bill Elliott. Allison's added those 5 bonus points for getting that lead. And here goes Elliott right back on the outside, and he draws away in this incredible duel.
They better look over their shoulder. When they start doing this, Harry Gant is probably the happiest guy in town. He said, race side by side. I'm coming. Harry's closing in on him. He's pulling for Davey, then he's pulling for Bill. He just wants them to mix it up. He's on the way.
There you see the 2 leaders, and how far back is Harry Gant? There's the number 33, and there you'll see the interval. There's the second place car, and just in front of him, Bill Elliott. That's the picture. That's the story of the race at lap 125. Elliott first, Ford. Allison, Ford second. Gant, Oldsmobile third. Sterling Marlin, Ford fourth. And then it's the Hutt Strickland Chevrolet in fifth. Alan Kulwicki is sixth. Ricky Rudd is in seventh. Michael Waltrip in eighth. Darrell Waltrip in ninth. Earnhardt is 10th. Terry Labonte is back there in 11th position. Harry Gant in the number 33 trying to close in, and we're checking a little interval here to see how close they're getting between second and third. Also moving back up is Sterling Marlin in 22.
You know, that little move that Davey tried to make a while ago. Here's Gant closing in on it, but when Davey tried to get around Bill a while ago, it's almost one of those either do it or die situations. He didn't make it. He used up a lot of tire on that race car running that inside lane, pinching the car down, and now he's actually losing a little ground to Bill. It cost him to try it.
It did indeed. 1 and 3/10 seconds. Interval between second and third spot. Davey Allison and Harry Gant. Laps complete. 128 here at Richmond International Raceway as Bill Elliott continues to make Richmond home territory for the Junior Johnson Ford.
Ride with the Throttle Man. Swim with sea lions of the Galapagos. And blast off from the jungle. Your ticket to adventure is waiting on Explorer. 9:30 Eastern tonight on TBS.
Today, performance cars come in a variety of designs, sizes, and even prices. So do Goodyear Eagles, the world's most successful line of performance tires. There are all-season Goodyear Eagles, new ultra-performance Goodyear Eagles. There are Goodyear Eagles for the classic and for the contemporary. No matter what performance car you own, there's a Goodyear Eagle priced for you. It's another reason we say the best tires in the world have Goodyear written all over them.
Inside your smooth-running engine is a torture chamber. And under these grueling conditions, only one leading motor oil in every grade meets the world's toughest requirements for viscosity breakdown. Castrol. Castrol provides maximum protection against viscosity and thermal breakdown. So use Castrol. Why make things tougher on your engine? Castrol GTX, engineered for today's smaller cars.
Drag racing results on Castrol's NHRA Now. Dial 1-900-468-NHRA.
Super Tuesday. With 11 states and nearly 1/5 of the delegates up for grabs, it could dramatically alter the race for the White House. For the most complete coverage of Super Tuesday, turn to CNN.
Hey, Dave, you ought to bring back that chicken cordon bleu sandwich. It's great.
Thanks. We're thinking about it.
Dave, your chicken cordon bleu? Ooh, magnifique. You'll bring it back?
Right.
Oh, toujours, Dave.
It's back. Wendy's Chicken Cordon Bleu. A whole chicken breast, ham, Swiss, Grey Poupon Dijon mustard, and mayonnaise on a toasted Kaiser bun. There's nothing else like it.
Hey, Dave.
I know. Chicken cordon bleu.
That's great, Dave, but you still need a quart of oil.
They're in search of a new record. At 105.8 miles per hour, Bill Elliott is leading. The old record is 105.3. We've completed 134 laps, and it's been the Bill Elliott story here today. With some of the other stories that are going on in motorsports, let's join Rick Benjamin at the Goodyear Eagle Update Center.
Thank you, Ken. Time for our first Goodyear Eagle Racing update of the day. You know, today's Pontiac Excitement 400 is not the only racing action of the weekend here at Richmond International Raceway. Yesterday, some 40 Busch Grand National drivers took to this 3/4-mile D-shaped oval for the Hardee's 200. The victory went to a driver who'd had trouble just making the field for the first Grand National race of the year at Daytona a few weeks ago, and who was making his first start of the season in that series. Now, yesterday, a full field of Busch drivers, along with some drivers from the Busch Grand National North Series, and complement of Winston Cuppers took the green flag on a clearing afternoon. Second-year star Jeff Gordon had put his Ford on the pole, the white number 1 you see there. 1990 Series champ Chuck Bound on the outside. Gordon faded at the start. Bound led early. He had his hands full with defending Series champ Bobby Labonte. Finally, Labonte grabbed the lead about 20 laps into the race. in the race's next stage. Pole sitter Gordon was able to gather himself and make it a three-way battle, but around halfway, a familiar name clawed his way into contention. 54-year-old Harry Gant in the Mack Tools number 7 here, picking up where he left off last September in Richmond. Finally, Gant able to get the lead by working his way inside Bobby Labonte down in turn 1. After that, it was all Gant. Harry set sail, opening up a 5-second lead. The race winding down. Great duel for second in the last 10 laps. Bobby Labonte on the inside, Kenny Wallace on the outside. Wallace nipping second spot at the checkered flag by a radiator cap. Harry Gant managing his first victory of 1992 in the Busch Grand National Series, and it was this series which really got him going toward that unbelievable September run he put together both in Busch racing and in the Winston Cup. We take a look at the top 5 from yesterday's event. Gant the winner over Kenny Wallace and Bobby Labonte. Darrell Waltrip with a great run yesterday, and Joe Nemechek finishing in 5th spot. Darrell Waltrip hoping to use yesterday's run along with Harry Gant to a good run here today as we watch Gant work toward the front of the field.
Gant working on Davey Allison, Rick, with 140 laps complete this time. Battled for second. It's Davey Allison there. And Harry Gant trying to do the takeaway. Here they are in turns 3 and 4 at Richmond International Raceway. Good slugfest.
Again, this is what Davey got into a while ago trying to pass Bill. We've seen Harry Gant drive up under Davey, but not able to use the throttle like you want to go on by him. You can catch a guy here, but it's another thing trying to pass him. When you get it down on the inside that racetrack, you really smoke the rear tires. We saw Gant hang the rear out trying to get off that corner. It's tough on that bottom getting back in the throttle.
As we see Davey Allison trying to fight to hang on to second. About 18 laps ago, he came over the radio and said, I want to lead this race and pick up 5 bonus points. He did that, so he had enough car to do that. Crew Chief Larry McReynolds said back to him, when you get that 5, stay in second place and just ride, save those tires.
Well, winning those points means a lot of difference. And, you know, we saw Davey put a lot of heat on him up there for the lead, and he didn't actually lead all the way around, but he nosed him out the start-finish line, and that's all it takes. Just cross that line in the lead, and you get 5 points.
Davey Allison, who are you concerned with in this race?
Well, the guys that really looked strong in practice yesterday were Bill Elliott and Harry Gant. And also Hut Strickland ran strong, and Brett Bodine. So we'll just have to see how things even out in the race. You know, if we can get out there and lead the thing early, set a fast pace, try to get some of these guys a lap down if we can. And if not, if it looks like we're punishing the car too hard, then we'll back off and take care of it. But those are the guys to be concerned about.
Ken, do you think Davey Allison had vision looking into the future? Because he couldn't have hit it any better. He's got one guy in front of him, one behind him, and Hut Strickland's running good too, so he hit the nail on the head on who's going to run right today.
Basically, it's those 4, but Strickland's performance, sooner or later, this guy's got to get it nailed down and get himself a win.
Speaking of getting it nailed down, Gant is nailing the throttle down. He's trying to get around Davey now.
We've just received word, gentlemen, that the 33 car is experiencing perhaps a problem. The oil temperature in the car is rising. Now, Harry is right in behind Davey Allison. Maybe he's not getting as much air in the radiator of that car as he would like to, but that could indicate a problem, Neil.
I tell you what, when you run a car as hard as Harry is, he's trying to get around him. They pull a lot of gear. We were talking in the garage this morning to turn an extreme amount of RPM. We saw the Ford a while ago. Gant's got a lot more gear in his car, and he's turning RPM. And when you stay behind someone like that, it's like a pressure cooker. He's putting a lot of heat on it, and if he keeps it up, the thing could go away on him.
Leading Chevy in this race right now is back in 6th spot. Ricky Rudd, car number 5. You know, Neil, a Chevrolet has not led a Winston Cup race since that very first pit stop that we saw down at Daytona. That's incredible.
It's incredible. I tell you what, you know, we've always seen fast cars, but usually they swap it back and forth between General Motors and Ford. Ford has had total domination, and I don't know what they're going to do without some major work to close that gap.
There's that battle for second as it stays there now, and Elliott continues to draw away. You see the new average speed at 106.421 there over the record. We could have the fastest Pontiac Excitement 400 in history being unwound in front of us today. And as this race continues to unravel, Bill Elliott looks like he's on his way to stitching up his 36th Winston Cup victory. Remember Bill Elliott when he first came out? He said, when we started racing, we had no idea what we were getting into. We're just a bunch of boys in the mountains of Georgia trying to make a race. Used to say, just please, God, let us get in the field. And today, look at this move by Gant in 33. Gets himself a spot. Bill Elliott is dominating. He has a pretty good lead on these two, who continue their own personal war for second spot. Gant and Allison in a rip snorter here. This is for second. Davey Allison on the inside. Harry Gant right there in the 33.
Ran out of room coming off two. Other Gant was on the outside, and he ran out of room and had to roll back in the gas, out of the gas, get back in behind Davey.
There's that leader, Elliott. And that lead is building once again between first and second spot. Give you an idea of just how much of an advantage Elliott has put down since that one caution that ended at lap 106. We're at lap 149, and the difference is almost 2 seconds, 1.94.
Well, General Motors is taking this Ford domination very seriously. So seriously that they called representatives of all of their teams from all of the GM makes together yesterday morning for a 7 a.m. meeting. Kurt Buschel, who runs all of the motorsports in General Motors, basically told the teams, guys, let's get together and run the new cylinder head that we have developed and the other pieces that we've got. Let's get going. Let's all pull together. They are very concerned about what Ford is doing. Nonetheless, most of the top GM teams here today are not running the corporate cylinder head. They have gone with the Pontiac head.
Ken, one problem there, when you talk to these teams, they're saying, hey, let's go to the new cylinder head. How do you tell a team to park $100,000 worth of heads? They've got endless work, endless amounts of money put into the stuff that's on the shelf. And to develop that new head mid-season, they've got work ahead of them. They want to use what they got and work in the off-season, but they don't have that luxury.
You know, there was a lot of sharing among the Fords. Remember, Robert Yates seemed to have it all handled, and everybody got quick. Dale Jarrett won at Michigan, and all of a sudden those Fords really came on at the end of the year. But from the other side, from the Chevy side, we're seeing something different with the Allison car out here today. A little experimenting going on there.
Yeah, they're trying some new heads, and it looks like it might be the right direction.
And certainly Junior is.
Spoke of some oil temperature going up on the Harry Gant car. Harry came over and talked to crew chief Andy Petrie. He said it's simply getting a little warm. I asked Andy about the problem. He said it always runs warm here at Richmond. No concern down here.
Well, here we go for second spot again. We got a couple of pretty good wars on out here right now, but this one for second place. We'll hang in here for a minute and watch Harry Gant, the Bandit, and Davey. And look at Harry just move that line up a little down here.
Ken, you know, you get out in the corner right here, and you can stick the front of the car down there, but you can't mash the gas. The rear wheels want to break loose. The front of drive in, it'll stick, but the minute he has to use the throttle, he snaps the rear back out in front of the car. Watch right here. He gets in the gas. He just can't use full throttle, and Davey's able to drive away from him.
Watching this great battle is a gentleman who knows his track well and has had a lot of great battles himself. Let's go to the STP Pit Center.
Ken, we're pleased to welcome Bobby Allison, former Winston Cup champ and Daytona 500 winner, here to the STP Pit Center. Bobby, you've got to be awfully proud. Your son, Davey, doing very well today.
Yeah, Davey has done a really nice job. He had a good run at Daytona, you know, and a good run again last week. Running good again today. Hope he has a good one.
Was it a special feeling for you to see him win the Daytona 500 for the first time?
Well, I did really enjoy that. It was special, yeah.
Let's talk about your car, the 12 car. Maybe we can get a shot of it. Hut Strickland got up to second spot earlier. What makes you the strongest Chevrolet in the field today?
Well, the guys have really worked hard on that Ray Besta Chevy for us, and Hutch worked hard behind the wheel. Got up there pretty good. We kind of lost a little bit of the handling on the pit stop, but he had begun to level out when I walked up here. Hopefully he'll move back up.
He's taking it easy here as we work toward the midpoint of the race. What about your career aspirations? There was a story a few weeks ago that you were hoping to make a driving comeback. How does that stand?
Well, I really hope that I recover to the point that I feel like I could. That still doesn't mean that I will. I went to Vanderbilt a couple weeks ago. I feel like they really helped me, and I'm going back this coming Thursday. Hopefully I can get that a little bit better. I'd really like to get my aviation physical for now, but I'd really like to be where I could get back in the car.
84 Winston Cup victories. for Bobby Allison. Some claim it's 83. I still think that Mustang should be counted for 84. And here is Harry Gant. Now look at this battle. This 7 and 22 scrap has been going on. This is 4th place. And look at Ricky Rudd moving into it. There you see the 22, Marlin on the outside. Alan Kulwicki pacing himself nicely, staying right there. And now they're all in a cluster as they come out of the corner. This battle has become 6 strong. 6 cars are involved in this dice. In the nose of the battle, you see 7 and 22. There's Ricky Rudd on the outside. Then look back just a little further. And there you find Strickland in that car number 12. That's the Davey Allison car right there on the outside. There's Darrell Waltrip in the 17. Michael Waltrip on the 30. That's all in a bundle. And that's all from the 4th position back. Great scrap.
Well, I tell you, the guy that wanted up in a pack here, Darrell, was the guy I've been watching all day long. He's the one that's able to run the lowest line, not abuse the tires around the bottom of the racetrack, and it should come to him as well as anybody on the racetrack. Watch him. He works this bottom line. He goes in there. The car sticks. Watch how low he runs up off the corner. He's not abusing the tires very hard at all. If he can keep that line, he would move to the front.
We neglected to tell the folks that the Kenny Bernstein car came back after 12 minutes, 38 seconds on pit road. He'd lost 32 laps, but Brett came back out. They're still trying. Now take a look at this. As Waltrip goes around the number 88, the freshman driver in his first appearance here, Fuller. And here comes Sterling Marlin right with him. What a thrill this must be for Jeff Fuller. Kid has been running up in the Northeast, running the modified circuit, getting a cut at Winston Cup and driving well. Doing exactly what they told him in the rookie meetings. He's staying out of the way, and that's so important when things happen so quickly at a track like Richmond International Raceway, where Bill Elliott continues to draw away from the field.
It's never been un-American to buy an imported performance sedan, but now it's unnecessary. The new Pontiac SSEI offers you handcrafted luxury, unsurpassed security, and supercharged performance at a price many thousands less than the big sedans from BMW and Lexus. The new Pontiac SSEI, a higher level of excitement.
We got a problem. Any ideas? I've got a contact, sir. Well, get on it then.
Get him here now.
Let's roll! Go, go, go! Where'd you find him? He's been with the organization for a while. Nice job, sir.
With years of training, Napa Auto Care technicians provide a secret service everyone should know about.
Inside your smooth-running engine is a torture chamber. And under these grueling conditions, only one leading motor oil in every grade meets the world's toughest requirements for viscosity breakdown. Castrol. Castrol provides maximum protection against viscosity and thermal breakdown. So use Castrol. Why make things tougher on your engine? Castrol GTX, engineered for today's smaller cars.
Drag racing results on Castrol's NHRA now. Dial 1-900-468-NHRA.
Every second of an asthma attack can feel like an eternity. That's why there's Primatene Mist. Primatene opens clogged breathing tubes in as fast as 15 seconds. Primatene Mist, the fastest type relief known.
First Contact wrote the book on cold medicine, and now a new chapter, Contact Day and Night. Day caplets for non-drowsy cold relief. Night caplets to relieve your symptoms to let you rest. New Contact Day and Night, a whole new chapter in cold relief.
Promotional fees and consideration have been paid by the following: Goodyear, #1 in racing and makers of Goodyear Eagles, the most successful line of high-performance tires in the world. And by First Brands Corporation, maker of STP racing products. And by Valvoline. People who know use Valvoline. And by True Value.
Give your home beautiful protection with long-lasting True Test Weatherall house paint exclusively from True Value hardware stores and home centers.
Welcome back to Richmond International Raceway. The Pontiac Excitement 400 unfolding. Bill Elliott still wearing out the field, working toward the 175 lap mark. Elliott's led from the pole all the way except for one lap. Time for you to get into the Gillette Halfway Challenge today. The phone number 1-900-436-7000. 95 cents a call. You must be 18 years of age or older. Call before halfway. If you're the entrant who is called back in the second half of the race and you know the driver leading at halfway, you'll win a Chevrolet Lumina Z34, a brand new one. The driver leading at halfway wins $10,000. Davey Allison has won this the first 2 races of the year, but today, gentlemen, it looks as though Bill Elliott's going to pretty much ease to that $10,000 check. What do you think?
Well, still a ways to go. He's just put a second lap on Ernie Irvin, running an 18th spot out there, Rick. But and now he's moved in on the number 49. That is the Smith car out of Alabama, that Interstate car. It's got a new sponsor this year. Now they brought Interstate in. It's now over at Joe Gibbs. There's that interval between the 11 car and 33. Well, I'll tell you, Elliott is on a rail.
Boy, that's an interesting interval there, but the interval is getting exciting. Look right in front of Bill Elliott. There's Elliott in the middle of the corner. Rick Mast, there's Earnhardt and Dick Trickle fixing to go a lap down right in front of him.
And Earnhardt is in 12th place, and he's about to go a lap down at lap 175. You talk about decimating a field.
You know, Trickle's car, Ken, was as fast as anybody in practice yesterday. Looks like they're off a little bit. And here he's lapping 2 really good race cars.
You know, you talk about this and how Ford is doing all of this, but let's not forget, Neil, what's been going on here. You know, the GM cars have dominated for a lot of 1991, a year back. They won the first 9 Winston Cup races in 1990. GM won 12 of the first 15. 89, they won the first 8 Winston Cup races. So, I mean, you got to go back to 86 when Jeff Bodine won the 500 when they split it up. Take a look here. There's the 1 realizing Rick Mast up on the outside and the number 3 Earnhardt right in front of him, that they're about to go a lap down.
Neil, a question for you from the STP Pit Communications Center. One of the strengths most people think NASCAR racing has is the equality of the competition. NASCAR's been noted over the years for tinkering a little bit with the rules if one brand of car seemed to be stronger than the other. What do you think? Are they going to make some rules changes here to try to level the playing field a little?
Well, I'll tell you one thing about a NASCAR rule book. It's got all kind of pages and all kind of numbers, but right at the end it says it can be changed at any moment. And they said they're going to look at this thing and reevaluate after Atlanta. So I'm sure they'll be looking at what to do, and I don't know if there will be any change or not, but the door is open to make a change.
Remember the old rule book, EIRI, except in rare instances.
And this could be very rare.
We're down to 179 laps complete. Elliott's on his way toward a new record at Richmond. Earnhardt has not led a single lap this year. Here is Rick Mast about to be lapped in one of the Jackson brother cars, and here comes Bill Elliott about to put it on Earnhardt. Now, for you folks keeping track, this will be lap 180 when they come around. If he's going to go a lap down under full green conditions here.
Boy, how long has it been since Earnhardt's been lapped? It's been a lot of time since he's got this far behind. A long time.
Well, he actually got lapped a week ago at the Rock.
Well, don't remind me. I just couldn't remember very well, can I? But this early at Richmond, I tell you.
Here's Dick Berger.
Craig Sachs has pulled behind the wall. The crew members are working on the engine of his number 41 automobile. He had been smoking. The problem, a bad valve cover gasket. They're going to take the valve cover off, put a new gasket on. Sachs will rejoin the fray, but he is going to be many laps down with no chance for a good finish this afternoon.
Number 41 car back behind the wall. Greg Sachs won that single race at Daytona. You know, somebody always ends up, remember that when you were reading as you were a kid and it was Fireball and those Pontiacs and they just couldn't be beaten. Remember that?
Yeah, then I remember the old Hudson Hornet. They talk about that. And
well, you're much older than I am.
The Plymouths and the Chryslers, they say it goes in cycles. Well, we're in the Ford cycle right now for sure.
It's been a long time, but it seems to be happening here in 1992. Ford's coming alive, and they've won the first 2. Will they win the third? Harry Gant has other opinions. The telemetry giving you this idea of the race on this 3/4-mile track. Mark Martin and the Valvoline Ford providing the same.
See the little bit of brake. Watch as he goes down the corner. You see the RPM on the right. Watch on the left side. You'll see just a little bit of brake pedal getting down in the corner. Well, that right there is an indication the car's not handling properly. Using a little bit more brake than he wants to have to use. Real close to that wall off forward there. You can see him almost clip the wall.
Remember that he's riding back in 20th spot, so this team is off its speed today.
when a car is working really well here, Ken, you can go in there and just glide the car in and use a small amount of brake entering the corner. And when it's off, you have to ride the brake a little more.
And from these pictures, let's tell the folks a little bit about how different the two ends of the tracks are. It's a totally different approach.
Yeah, there they are coming off from turn 4 down the front straight. Look what a big wide bow you have here. Watch how wide the entry is into this corner. Looks like you could drive 4 tractor trailers down in here. You come in here, watch the car in front of them. Now you're right on the bottom. You come up here, all of a sudden the wall just jumps out. Look how quick the wall's out. Long straightaway, no bow in it. Right there's the part that's hard to get in. It's 2 totally different racetracks on each end.
I just talked with crew chief Steve Neal of Mark Martin. Steve, he had a smile on his face, but he had to force it. He said on the next pit stop, whether it's green flag or caution, they're going to put a rubber in the right front spring and one in the left rear. That will hopefully stiffen it up in the right front. And he said the car is just simply bad loose.
Sounds like they missed big time.
And that is bad news when you have to do that much work. One rubber and one spring is a major change. They're going to work on 2 of them. They're out of left field and they're ready to try anything.
They need a caution. 187 laps are now complete of the 400 to be run. And the interval, Neil, that interval is closing down. Gant is trying to stop this Ford parade. Harry Gant is moving in. Meanwhile, you see the 12th place car, Morgan Shepherd, second currently in Winston Cup points. He's going a lap down to Elliott.
I tell you, the Citgo cars ran well all season long. And for Bill to be lapping him early is just an indication of how tough he's running today.
But Gant's the man. Harry Gant closing in, crowding that leader a little. Keeps on nipping away a few car lengths every lap. And that's, of course, what he did all of the end of last year in that amazing run. Those 5 victories he pulled off. He is something.
He's the guy we need to be able to call on the radio, because right now with him closing in on Bill Elliott, I promise you, old Harry said, boy, this darn old thing just ain't running good, and it ain't turning, and it ain't driving, but yet he's going to the front. He usually complains about the car, but he always gets it to the front.
There you see it. Harry Gant getting closer. Can he overtake that Ford? We'll see here at Richmond this afternoon. 190 complete.
You see them everywhere, every day.
They're watching us, spying on us, making sure that we behave.
Now, they're taking charge. TBS presents a week of terrifying tales that will make your skin crawl. Day of the Animals, the Savage Bees, Empire of the Ants, Tarantulas, the Uncanny.
They will kill every living thing in sight.
It's a week of killer creatures. 105 Eastern beginning Monday on TBS.
Fresh, pure, and natural. The only beer with the genuine taste of the king of beers, Budweiser.
The RCA projection screen is so big, you'll feel like part of the show when you watch the RCA home theater. It also has Dolby surround sound that's so real,
Stand back, everyone.
you'll forget you're sitting at home.
Let me handle this.
The RCA home theater also has Pix-in-Pix. It lets you watch 2 things at once, in color. Another way RCA is changing entertainment again.
If I want to keep playing baseball, I'm going to have to keep working. There's no off season anymore. And when I get sore, I take Advil. To last, you stick with what works.
Advil, advanced medicine for pain.
Monday and Tuesday night, it's sky-high suspense with 3 great action-packed disaster epics. Airport 75, and Airport 77. It all begins at 8:05 Eastern Monday night on TBS.
The Pontiac Excitement 400 is brought to you by Mellow Yellow and Kyle Petty. There's nothing mellow about them.
Welcome back to Richmond International Raceway, the Pontiac Excitement 400 at lap 196. Still a Bill Elliott show today. He's led all but one lap. Getting close to the Gillette halfway point today, the halfway challenge. You still have time to enter. 95 cents per call. Here's the 900 number, 1-900-436-7000. You must be 18 years of age or over to enter. Call now. Get your entry filed. When we see who's leading at halfway, we'll call back one of the entrants in the second half of the race. If you can tell us the driver out front at the halfway point at 200 laps, you'll win a brand new 1992 Chevrolet Lumina Z34. $10,000 on the line for the driver who leads at halfway. And gentlemen, it certainly looks as though Bill Elliott's going to be making a bank deposit tomorrow in Dawsonville.
Yeah, for at least that 10 grand at halfway. Here he is, ready to lap Dick Trickle in car number 8. And that car is the 11th position on the field. 198 laps are complete. The speed is averaging 107.816. The record is 105.397. Earnhardt a year ago. We're about, we would estimate, 5 to 10 laps away from making pit stops under green. We've only had one caution if you're just joined us. Just one. Jimmy Means lost an engine from laps 101 to 106. We were down under yellow. Other than that, it's been green lights all the way. 2 lead changes among just 2 drivers thus far in this event. And there goes Trickle down a lap. Now you see Brett Bodine making up time. Remember, he's many laps down. He was 12 minutes in here working on the rear end of his car. Now you see Mark Martin's car number 6. He is also well back. He is back in the 20th position, I believe. Mark Martin, what's the emotion like when you have a bad start on the season?
Well, we got a real determined race team, you know, between Jack and Steve and myself, and all the people and all the energy that goes into race to putting our program together. And it hurt us really, really bad, but we also have enough experience to know that if we let it show, that it'll just hurt us that much more. And when Daytona's over, it's over. And there's not but one thing you can do, and that's march on down the road wide open as hard as you can go, and that's what we're doing. We're stomping out here after this championship, one race at a time, as hard as we can go. They are all the same amount of points, so you just have to do your best in every race and you know, try to get your piece of the pie.
Currently 15th in the points. Mark Martin with one top 10 finish thus far this season, and things not going well, currently running in 20th position. Meanwhile, look at car number 11. Junior Johnson's car, Bill Elliott at the keyboard, and what a performance they're giving us. And there you see that interval, first to second. And back there in that second spot, that 33 car, and he's trying to close that distance down. The difference stays at 1 2/10 seconds between first and second spot.
Ken, they went through some traffic a while ago, and that's one of the big benefits of leading the race. When that leader comes by, they put that pullover flag out and warns the other guys that the leader's coming. The guy leading the race really gets more use of that flag than anyone else. Harry got hung up in a little traffic and lost some of that time that he was gaining on him.
We've closed past halfway, and Elliott continues to run this race for his 36th win right from the outset. It was all his. He was on the pole for the second time at Richmond. He's never won this event, and he's had some pretty bad luck here when he and Ernie and Dan used to bring cars down. They worked all winter on a short track car on the old track. They lost up here in turn 4, and I think that's the one where you shortened one of Junior's cars by about 4 feet.
I think I set a record for stopping shortest distance.
Recall you did. It's not in the record book, though. I don't understand.
It's in the back of my neck. I still remember it. It's not in my head. It's in my neck.
Second Ford front row of 1992 started this race. Mark Martin and Elliott were at Daytona. This time, it was Elliott and Davey Allison up in front. Davey's back there in third, and the middleman here is Harry Gant. That Oldsmobile stays in there, matching lick for lick. That leader at the present time stays just about 1 4/10 seconds back. And when you've got Harry Gant behind you, you have to consider that even if he doesn't have as much power, he'll muscle that car. He'll manhandle that thing, and he'll shove it up in there if there's any possible way. He did it yesterday.
Ken, he started 28th yesterday and won the race, and here he is now. I promise you, Bill Elliott, when he looks in that mirror and sees that car, he says, of all people, what is he doing coming? Because Harry just seems to nip away and nip away. And I promise you, Elliott doesn't need to call from the pits and say Gant is coming, because he looks in that mirror and he knows that car very well. And it's a bad feeling to see that car coming after you.
I always liked what Beth Tuchak of USA Today said about Harry Gant. She said that when he was really running well, it was a well-mannered hurricane coming up through the field.
I don't know. It might have been a cyclone. Harry's too old to be a hurricane. He just keeps plugging away at it, and it just happens.
Let's get the Goodyear mid-race report right now.
Gentlemen, we're at the Goodyear Update Center, and we're going to take a look at the standings after 200 laps halfway through the event. Only Bill Elliott and Davey Allison had managed to lead. The only two leaders, as you can say, two lead changes at this point. Bill Elliott's average speed of nearly 108 miles an hour. Just one caution period for 6 laps. The only car out, the 52 of Jimmy Means at this point. And here are your lap leaders so far today. Elliott leading from the beginning, the green, to 123. Davey Allison led lap 124, and really only a few feet of that lap. He was able to stick the nose of the 28 car in there for a time. Elliott got back around him on the backside of the racetrack, and he's led all the way to this point. We're in the second half of the Pontiac Excitement 400, and Bill Elliott really putting everybody to shame here this afternoon.
Ken, right now, what would be an ideal thing? Here we are. We're real close to pit stops. What would be nice would be, there goes Morgan Shepherd out of the pit, would be extend one of your pit stops and hope Elliott pits, and then a caution comes out. Stay out there as long as you can. But the problem you have there, that 11 car is capable of going as far or further than anyone on the racetrack. I think everyone will wait just as long as they possibly can, hoping Elliott pits before they do, and then catch a caution. But it's hard to outweight that 11 on fuel.
You see them coming around the Travis Carter car. Jimmy Spencer in the 98 getting lapped by Bill Elliott as he continues to bulldoze this race field. Here he is coming up on Morgan, who's just been in, and there's the 68 of Hamilton. Hamilton's running currently in the 20th spot as we begin to make pit stops. Bobby Hamilton out of Nashville, Tennessee, the yellow number 68.
Ken, look how close Harry Gant is right now. Elliott got caught in just the least little bit of traffic, and Gant is right there. Gant is close enough. If he can get around this back, he'll be right on Elliott. But they're fixing to have to make pit stops, and that could separate them again.
Doesn't look to me like Elliott, for the moment, is as concerned at 2:14. He knows he's got some distance to go, and that car is working so well. There's no question that Gant is getting into it. But so, for that matter, are Michael Waltrip and Darrell Waltrip. They're running back in 4th and 5th. They're staying in that lead lap and running well. And now we see a lot of leaders coming on pit road. Schrader's just come in. Davey Allison comes in. Dick Trickle is on pit road. A couple of laps down comes Ernie Irvin. So pit stops are the order of the day here at Richmond International Raceway. Sold out house, enjoying this great Winston Cup race, which is being run at a record speed of over 108 miles per hour. The old record just a year ago by Earnhardt at 105. Sterling Marlin is in. Fuller is in. Also coming in now is the 18 car. Dale Jarrett is in. Michael Waltrip, Ricky Rudd. This is the activity that's taking place at the moment. This is all under green. We've only had one caution, and Jimmy Means lost an engine early.
Here comes Gant down pit road now. There's Sterling Marlin. We see him in. They had a little bit of problem. Here's Gant coming in. This is going to be critical. If he can get in and get out and get in front of Bill, he might be able to hold the lead a while.
Let's go to Randy Pemberton.
This team does not want to have happen as a caution come out while they're on pit road, but Harry Gant brings the skull bandit and almost gets hit by Hut Strickland as he noses it in. Andy Petrie and the crew go to work on the right side. It's definitely be a 4-tire change. Right side is down on the automobile. Over on the left side of the automobile right now. Pace keeps going on the racetrack. 5 pit stops so far by the Andy Petrie crew. And now let's go to Dick Bergen with the leader of the race.
And he is in also going to make a 4-tire change. They're not going to adjust anything on the car. The right side tires are on. He's among the last to come in, and that suggests he's getting very good gas mileage. Tim Brewer, the crew chief, on the left front. This is a very well executed, very fast pit stop. Elliott's gone.
Gant was in 20. Elliott was in 22.8.
And here they come. Here's Bill Elliott going down pit road, and Harry Gant is coming down the front straightaway. Gant is going to take the lead. Gant's going in 1 ahead of Bill.
And remember, it's 40-mile-per-hour limit on pit road today. Not 60, not 65, 40.
feel like he can get out and walk fast.
Have you seen those radar guns yet? I noticed today when we were getting ready to do our opening, I was over there and looking in the window, and the NASCAR people had all of their people lined up as to where they were, and there actually is an assignment for the guy with the radar gun here. You know, we keep thinking he's hiding behind some sign somewhere, but they're getting.
I think there was a hairdryer.
Here you see Waltrip coming in. What are you feeling about Richmond, Darrell Waltrip?
Everybody hated, but I liked it. I always knew that when I came here that if things went like I expected them to, I'd win the race. It come down between Earnhardt and I a couple of times and maybe Rudd a time or two, but most of the time I pretty well had things my own way here. The old track was slick, it was treacherous, it had that guardrail around it, but I could always stay out of trouble just good enough to be there at the finish and win the race. I haven't been that fortunate on this new racetrack. I haven't been able to find the balance that I'm looking for. I get a car a little too tight off of 2 and a little too loose off of 4, and you can't run here like that. You've got to have a car that's pretty well neutral all the way around this racetrack. 2 different turns. Turn 2 is kind of tight out next to the wall. Turn 4 here, you kind of run off in a D shape. So I haven't really come up with the right combination for me for the race here yet. I haven't had the kind of runs here that I would like to have. Haven't led a lot of laps here since they redid the racetrack, but this is my best chance, I believe. My car feels the best it's felt here in a long time.
Disregard the car for a moment. Jeff Hammond and that crew on pit road. Neil, they just put him out in 20.7 seconds. That's as fast as we saw the Gant stop, and he was leading when he came in. Now with the shakeout going on, we'll have Harry Gant back in first. Davey Allison, we believe, in second. And we'll have Bill Elliott in third with 2:23 complete. We'll have it all sorted out when we come back.
It's been said that American workers are lazy. We want high pay without working and give too little attention to quality. The fact is, U.S. workers are the most productive in the world. And then some.
That looked like a slice to me.
For all the hard work and achievements of the American worker, thanks from Budweiser.
When it comes to making batteries that last, somebody's in high gear. Duracell. Today's Duracell batteries can even outperform the ones we made just a few years back. You can't top the copper top.
All of these championship-winning drivers have one thing in common: Goodyear Racing Eagles. The race-winning technology that's found in the Goodyear Racing Eagles can also be found in the world's best-selling line of high-performance street tires, Goodyear Eagle Street Radials. The champions know, and it's why we say the best tires in the world have Goodyear written all over them.
If I want to keep playing baseball, I'm going to have to keep working. There's no off-season anymore. Every day it's just me and a pile of iron. Or a bike I ride forever. And when I get sore, I take Advil. It's strong, it works, and I know it helps. And Advil's gentler on my stomach than aspirin. To last as long as I have, you got to stick with what works. That's why I use Advil.
Advil, advanced medicine for pain.
Keystone Beer presents a NASCAR profile with Wally Dallenbach Jr. In a rich to not-so-rich professional racing career, Wally Dallenbach Jr. has joined the ranks of NASCAR's Winston Cup drivers on his own merits. Young Dallenbach teamed with Jack Roush in the middle 80s, winning 2 SCCA Trans Am championships in 1985 and 86. At the same time, his wife Robin was competing on the IMSA circuit. Roush and Dallenbach virtually dominated IMSA's GTO class, winning 14 races and finishing as the runner-up in the Drivers' Championship in 1988. They were on a roll. It seemed that Wally Jr. would follow in his father's footsteps and race Indy cars, but after 4 dismal Indy starts, Dallenbach was unable to land a full-time ride on the kart circuit. The going got tough. Now, though, he's back with Roush Racing, where they'll campaign the Keystone Ford Thunderbird. The switch to Winston Cup racing may bring back those great paydays.
There he is running in 29th position. A week ago, he ran at Rockingham, and when it was over, he was saying to people, 500 miles at Rockingham, 24 hours at Daytona, and the Sunbank race, or the Rolex race now, is easier than running the Rock. He got a big stock car experience last week in Rockingham.
I'm telling you, Rockingham and Dover, they'll get your attention. I've been to Daytona, but I always remembered Rockingham and Dover being the tough guys.
All right, here's Harry Gant continuing out in front. There are 232 laps complete. Gant in control, Allison in second, Elliott is third, Rudd maintains fourth, and Waldrop is fifth. Let's go down and join the newest car owner in the Winston Cup Series. He's at the STP Pit Center.
Ken, we're pleased to welcome head coach Joe Gibbs of the world champion Washington Redskins and a new Winston Cup team owner as well. Coach, welcome. Your team got off to kind of a rough start in the first 2 weeks of this season.
Yeah, I tell you, it was tough for us. I felt bad for the guys and Interstate, Food Line, everybody pulling for us. But we ran good in both our first 2 races. We had a motor problem last week, and the first week we had the big wreck.
Now today, Dale got a little out of shape earlier. What have you done to the car so far this afternoon?
Well, we started off a little loose. We thought we were in pretty good shape when we started the race, but we wound up a little loose, and gradually working with it, I'm hoping we'll handle better and better as we go.
What are you doing to try to make the team stronger now that you've gotten your feet wet in a couple of races?
Well, I think really in this one, I'm the owner. My job is to make sure we get everything it takes to go fast. Jimmy and Dale are the 2 guys that their job is to make us go fast and get up front. So I think we have a good young team. I think we got a lot of people that really care about us from a sponsorship standpoint. Appreciate Chevrolet and everybody giving us a chance. So I'm excited about getting the opportunity.
Dale's up to 14th spot right now. Let's hope you have a good finish today. Thank you.
Okay, thanks.
Working right behind Derek Cope in car number 10 out there. That is Dale Jarrett. So after Daytona and Rockingham, how do you feel about the car, Dale?
I'm still excited. The cars are driving great, and the engines are running good. We've got a good program put together here. Just a matter of getting these things out of the way. We knew there would be problems. We weren't kidding ourselves or anybody else. That things are going to happen. We just didn't expect it the first 2 races.
What did Joe say? I mean, I know it's going to happen, right? But what did he think about it?
Well, he told me that it was his fault. He said he's the worst starter in anything that there is. He said when he started with the Redskins, he went 0-5 to start with. Didn't know if he'd have a job the 6th game. So he understands it. You know, certainly he's concerned that we're this far back in the points already, but he knows that the guys have worked awfully hard and put good race cars under me, and that eventually these things are going to work out, and if the cars keep driving like this, that we'll be challenging to win before long.
In 14th position here today in our live coverage on TBS from Richmond, Dale Jarrett with 239 laps complete. Record speed being attained. Average speed now stands at 107.9. Old record, Earnhardt a year back at 105.3. There's your leader. It's Harry Gant out in front. Can he be run down? There's that possibility. Already Bill Elliott has moved up. He has taken that 2nd spot, and he is closing. There's Gant in the lead. And the number 11 car is right there, knocking on the door in 2nd spot. Bill Elliott in that 2nd position. Then looking a little further back to show you how the field is line at the present time with 240 now on the board. 3rd spot belongs to Davey Allison. Car number 28 is there in the 3rd position. Davey maintaining 3rd. We've got another Chevy behind that Ford. Running in 4th spot as we go back through the field is Ricky Rudd in car number 5. Rudd, who has been out there all day and minded his business, tended to his knitting. He stays. It's Ricky Rudd in 4th. As you look at Alice, now we're back here picking up. Now we're picking up the leaders again, because all of a sudden here comes Elliott.
You know, we saw earlier Gant was able to run him down, but he couldn't pass Bill. Now it's going to be Bill's job to run Harry down and try to get around him. Maybe he can do that.
In heavy lap traffic, there you see Ricky Rudd, that 4th place car. Right in front of him was Charlie Glotzback, the 90. Now he gets away from him, and closing in comes Elliott, back with the leaders again. Gant is there. Elliott is in 2nd. This is for 1st place at lap 244 this time by. Ernie Irvin getting a little high, and it opens up the inside. Down comes Elliott. Back comes Gant.
Boy, Ken Gant is the kind of driver that just takes things in stride. If you can run him down, catch him, and get by him. He usually doesn't really challenge you that hard because he knows there's a lot of racing left. But if he thinks that car is able to maintain the lead, he'll stay after him.
We need to stay right here for a minute, don't we? This is a dandy. Here comes Elliott again on the bottom of the racetrack. And Gant stays on that outside. You get any horsepower advantage here on that 18-degree bank by taking it a little higher?
That outside lane gets you a run up off of there. Lets the car kind of, the inside car really bogs down and has to really use a lot of throttle and spin the rear wheels. That outside lane is a little bit easier on the tires and all.
Now remember that earlier we saw Allison on the inside and Elliott on the outside in a good battle that went on for about 6-7 laps.
We saw these two same cars with Gant trying to make the inside move on Elliott and never could pull it off. Harry's going to make Bill try that inside if he wants back.
Michael Waltrip is 5th. Darrell Waltrip is 6th. Kulwicki is 7th. A lap down is Morgan Shepherd in 8th. Hut Strickland 9th. Terry Labonte has come up into the 10th position. Sterling Martin 11th. Battle for the lead continues.
Ken, we're seeing a real smart move here by Bill Elliott. We saw him run him down from way back, and he gets there and he's just sitting on the rear bumper of Gant. He'll probably do this 3 or 4 laps. He'll mount him a charge and see if he can go by, because like we've seen earlier, you don't get but one try to go by. If you clear him good, if you don't, you back up. So he's got to get all his eggs in a basket and try to go at one time.
There's Jarrett. Tucks it down on the inside, gives some running room. There's Rick Mast in the number 1 right in front of them. This at lap 248. Pretty hard to shake up any of these top Winston Cup drivers. I mean, they work on each other a little out there, but when you get Gant out in front, it's pretty rock solid. That's Gibraltar. Now,
well, as we're watching the leaders, we're also wondering if Davey Allison can do anything with Bill Elliott and Harry Gant this afternoon, Robert.
Well, they're awful strong, and, you know, Larry, guys that keep making changes, they made a change after that first 100 laps and picked the car up some, but the other guys have picked up some also. So we're going to look like we're going to chase them, but we're going to make another chassis change the next stop, and, you know, hopefully that the other guys won't do the same thing and get better, and we get better. So that's the game we're in, and rapidly up front or near the front.
It's a long ways from over.
Well, 250 laps are now complete in this 400-lap race. There have been only 4 lead changes between 4 drivers thus far in the going. Elliott, Allison, Waltrip, Gant have been the opportunists to pick off those 5 bonus points for leading out here.
Well, I tell you, Gant is running a real high line. Once he saw that outside was pretty good, he moved it up there another notch. Gant is notorious for running real high on a racetrack, and in both ends of the racetrack, he's running the highest line of anyone out there.
He seems to have such a good sense about where to run a race car, as good as anybody out there.
The key is to run the race car where the race car wants to run. If you get a mindset that I'm going to run low, and the car doesn't like it down there, you're not going to go fast. The key is to let the car go where it wants to go when you follow it and try to turn fast laps.
Must be a little bit like riding a horse. If you really want to make him go quick, you kind of let him go as much as he wants to, as long as you keep him between the rails.
It's hard to turn the thoroughbred in the opposite direction. He's got one set mind.
So Gant stays in first. Pictures from our Pennzoil camera topside here. 65,000 folks have gathered at Richmond International Raceway today. It is a beautiful day. We've had bad weather all week. We darn near lost the race yesterday, and then it just turned out perfect. Paul Sawyer had the right saint, and all of a sudden we had a great race and a good day and a wonderful crowd, and it's only gotten better. Today's Pontiac 400 Aerials brought to you by Pennzoil Motor Oil.
Ken, from that aerial, I believe they miscount a few people. I see people in it don't have seats. They're standing all around this racetrack.
When you were kids, you used to sneak into racetracks?
Yeah, I used to go out to Birmingham racetrack and all, and we used to climb a tree every now and then to watch the race. But after that, I got to like it so much I went ahead and bought the tickets.
You did? Bobby Isaac, who was my favorite, he said at Hickory, he used to go sit in the tree in the cemetery and watch him race. I said, well, why didn't you sneak in? He said, it would have hurt too much if I got caught. Guy with a lot of pride and was a sensational racer.
Yeah, look at Gant. You know, we saw Bill make that charge on him, make a run a while ago, and now Gant's pulling away. And looks like Bill's fishing around for a different place on the track. He's tried it high and low, and Gant is so strong it's making him have to look for a different place.
We're going to be back with more. We're 255 laps deep. into the Pontiac Excitement 400, and for the moment, GM has a car out in front with Harry Gant.
Things are different. The all-new Pontiac Grand Am proves it. Things are better because no import at its price can match the power of its 16-valve engine and the control of its standard anti-lock brakes. Not Accord, not Camry, no one. In fact, Consumers Digest named the Grand Am a Best Buy. Pontiac's new Grand Am, a new kind of excitement.
Hey, Mike, hand me my channel lock pliers.
Tommy, give me that plier over there with the blue handles. What kind of pliers is that? These are channel lock tone and groove pliers. My dad uses them on his race car, too.
For the tough jobs and the small jobs, reach for Channel Lock, the handiest plier of them all.
Hey, guys, anybody seen the channel lock pliers?
Channel Lock. Be sure you're getting genuine Channel Lock pliers. Look for this trademark.
This is Control. Go ahead.
We've got trouble.
What's the point of origin?
Japan.
Stand by. I'm patching you through to Command Center.
We've got to find it.
We'll have it tomorrow.
Tomorrow's too late.
You inform headquarters.
We're working on it. Hold on. You've got something. Quick, check the vehicle ID number.
That's it. With more parts for more import cars than anybody else.
We got it.
Napa is a domestic solution to an international problem.
To pull her through a nasty lunch, Malox uses aluminum and magnesium. But his antacid is Tums, and Tums has calcium.
Something my body needs anyway. I like that.
Calcium-rich Tums.
First Contact wrote the book on cold medicine, and now a new chapter, Contact Day and Night. Day caplets for non-drowsy cold relief. Night caplets to relieve your symptoms to let you rest. New Contact Day and Night, a whole new chapter in cold relief.
Second caution of the day, lap 260. Michael Waltrip, who was 8 laps away from a top finish at Daytona, had an engine expire. It's happened again here today at Richmond. He was then running in the 6th position when it broke loose. Take a look.
Boy, Ken, this thing went up in a ball of fire. It exploded going down the back straightaway. The fire came out, it went out, and it lit about 3 or 4 different times. This is after he's come down the front straightaway. He had a big fire all the way down the back straightaway. The motor just exploded in it. Here he is after this has been burning for about a quarter of a lap. And thank goodness the fire went out. He's cutting across traffic, trying to get inside, get out of the groove. And
leader has pitted. Gant coming in, and I believe we see Bill Elliott just dance down in here too at the same time. Davey Allison's in.
All the guys on the lead lap, most of them came in that first time by.
Motor gone on Michael Waltrip's